supposed to have to not, fall into that category?
Well, that's very funny. I have a couple of things to add before I answer the question. So, one, that was funny when you said they're not going to be married. Bold statement. I get where you're coming from. I would say that the chances of marriage are successful marriage lowers after that five for sure. I don't want any woman in here listening or on the anonymous list listening to feel like there's no hope for you because there's always hope. But yeah, typically the chances of having a really successful, deep, passionate, loving marriage are slim. I would say yeah, five is a good number for that. Um, what was the other point that I wanted to make? Um, the next point is that women having sex are not typically doing it in love. I would say women can feel a very strong feeling related to love maybe 2 or 3 times. Otherwise, it's just going to be like a lustful thing or someone that they maybe have feelings for or they do have feelings for, but it's not, I'm in love with you. So her being, as you stated, in love with 5 guys is very slim. Because her threshold for caring that much about someone lessens with every time. She's not going to have the capacity. And if it's not at capacity, then is it actually true, genuine love? So something to ponder. I do think, yeah, I'm going to go with five. And if I'm being even a bit more strict, three. But in
Ooh.
society, I don't want to say it's hard because like, I just it's definitely possible to have a very low body count or to just literally be a virgin. It's possible, but if I'm being realistic, thinking statistically about women, especially women in the Western world, and women also who've been in relationships, right? A lot of girls get into relationships, multiple relationships. Are they not having sex in them? Probably not. So I would say, yeah, like 3 to 5 is like pretty realistic, but honestly, it's kind of scarce, especially if the woman is above 22, I would say.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they kind of stack the cards against you right now. So unfortunately.
yeah, it's I'm glad you agree. I'm glad you did not tell me anything that I was like, oh wow. That's definitely, I'm
Mm,
surprised that you even put the three in there.
yeah, I mean, I'm a very let's say modest female in terms of the way that I live. Sometimes like I posted bikini pictures online, whatever. People comment on my profile picture. I'm not modest, whatever. As a person, I'm modest and I have very, very high morals and values when it comes to sex and things like this. And even my bestest of friends who are good women have had more of a modest lifestyle as they've gotten older. They're still not meeting that five quota. So there's a lot of like seemingly pure, innocent women out there who have still been through the ringer of just the sexual liberation movement. Oh, like having sex is empowering. Oh, it shouldn't be up to the guy to decide or guys to decide how much sex I'm having. Like the brainwashing has been so real, and especially for women who go to college. So some people talk about like you don't want to be with a woman who's been to college. Well, honestly, it's for good reason because that programming, that environment is so pressuring on women to be this like free spirit, let's drink, let's party, let's live it up, or I'm gonna have like a slut phase or something like that. Like, I've never agreed with that. I think that's super degrading, but also my whole life, everyone looked at me as like, um, what's the word? Prude, I think. Like people would talk down to me about how I was like, no, like you don't want to be having sex, you don't want to be on birth control, you want to be selective about who you're dating or if you're even dating. So the women that were trying to be like positive and be pure and hold these intentions to be strong and true, they would get shunned or made fun of or kind of outcast. This is definitely real. So it's really hard on women to want to keep purity or to at least have a low body count or to deny sex.
Colleges are concentration camps, nothing short of it. So what they do is they take the female away from her family and they send you away from your family and friends 2 to 3 hours minimum away. And I cannot tell you, I speak for every male in this space, very likely. I cannot tell you how many good girls, quote unquote, went to college. They came back 4 to 5 years later. It's not even the same person anymore.
Yeah.
They come out with a semi-alcoholic issue. They have a drug problem. If it's not that, it's like their soul was sucked from them from 4 years of degeneracy. And make it very clear to everyone, the United States government did all this on purpose. So they sent, what is the point of sending people away from their family? Other than trying to gain responsibility, the whole point of sending you away is to a concentration camp. And they're literal concentration camps. It's just masked with the ideals of college.
No, it's real. I used to hear, sorry, I'll let you go in a second. I used to hear some of this stuff like years back, and I thought, no, that's like exaggerated. And then I started seeing it happen to literally at least 95 to 97% of all the girls that I grew up with. Like really good people with really good families, who seemingly had high self-esteem, beautiful, smart, athletic. I grew up in a really good area, so I grew up with top-notch girls. Even them falling subject to these things. So it's totally real, and people should actually take this to heart, considering dating, considering raising future kids.
Now, a lot of people think that was beta behavior letting a woman speak over me, but it's because I respect Peyton, and she did start first. But but that's also why we need a lot of these men to step up and start taking care of their own shit, so that they can save some of these good girls before they get to college. Wife them up, make sure that you take care of them and do your thing, and I think the world would be a better place.
A lot better. Holy shit.
Way better. Yeah. So
And
we got. Oh, go
hold
ahead,
on,
Peyton. Go
let me
ahead.
add to that. So I really like how you said the word save, Dale, because some guys are gonna hear save and they'll think, oh, perfect, I love saving women. And there's a difference. There's a difference between saving women before they fall into these traps and then saving women after they fallen in the trap and do have these alcoholism, drug, sex, etc. problems. That's the type of woman you don't want to save because she needs to save herself. The type of woman you want to save is the one who still has the innocence. And essentially, Dale can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's saying preserve her innocence by saving her from having to go down that rabbit hole. Would you agree?
Exactly what I mean.
Perfect.
And I'll add one thing. I would say this. A lot of good guys out there that like care about their girlfriends are up against their girlfriend's parents. So mom and dad, the term is called keeping up with the Joneses. So they're like, oh, Stacy went to UCLA. We got to send, Marissa to UCLA. So that's kind of how that works. So if you're a younger dude in here, you got to try to do everything you can to convince her father or her mother, that college isn't the way. Other than that, there's only so much you can do as a high schooler. The old term would be knock her up, get her pregnant. Well, you get her pregnant, the parents convince her to abort the child or this or that. So it is a very complex thing, but I totally agree with saving them before they go down that rabbit hole. Once they go down that rabbit hole, it's a waste.
No, yeah, I think it's a total waste. And I am not of the belief that men should save women, oh, because they're leaders and oh, they could teach her how to do all these things and all this. Like, it's one thing to positively influence a woman, it's another to save her. No, you don't want to save her because she has to save herself. She's going to fall back into whatever emotional or physical turmoil or trap that she was in before, even if you save her and she makes improvements. Because why? The saving wasn't stemming from herself. She has to do it for herself. So I know there's a lot of guys out there, they think like, oh, I'm red pilled, I can get this girl, I could take her out of college or take her away from the workforce and I can save her. Well, there's a difference between literally saving her from herself or just saving her from the workplace or things that are more innocent. When it comes to substance abuse or like abusing sex or just having these personal problems, you're never ever going to be able to save her. And why would you want to anyway? Why would you want to be with someone who can't do that for themselves? And assuming she's going to be the mother of your children, you really think she's going to set an example for your children? Probably not.
Well, that goes for men too, like your homeboys. Sometimes if they got those issues too, they gotta save themselves. You
Hmm.
could try to be there and support them, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that got to pull themselves out of it. So I do agree with you though, 100%.
Now, Peyton, I got a question for you touching the subject, and I know that we have a lot of speakers and a lot of people. Well, not actually, not a lot anymore, but we got people requesting the mic and whatnot. Peyton, I have a question for you. Do you think that Captain Save a Hoe? And I'm pretty sure I don't know if you have heard this. Yeah, you have heard probably this name before. Like a lot of us have heard this name in Spanish is Capitan Salvaputas, but in English is something else. Uh, do you consider a Captain Save a Hoe a beta male?
Absolutely. Because first of all, an alpha isn't going to be with a quote hoe or consider being with one, right? So yeah, it's definitely just right off the rip from that alone. Yeah, it's beta.
100%. Now, Red Pill, what do you think about Captain Save a Hoe?
Oh man, Captain Save a Hoe is a dumb motherfucker because you cannot save a hoe. A captain save a hoe. You might be a captain, but you're a captain of something that nobody wants to be. You cannot save these hoes, you guys. You guys, I'm the perfect testimony for it. Let's talk about it. I just tried to save a hoe. I just tried to take care of a girl who had a baby with somebody else that came with her mom as well. So look, this is all I gotta say. It's like this isn't being petty. This isn't nothing. I already moved out. I already got a new condo. Everything's new. So this isn't me going back on my words on some bullshit. Um, so pretty much for the last 4 months, everything that I've been putting into Beacon, Twitter, everything, I've been giving it like 30% of me. Why? Because I take care of my ex. I pay for our food in our bellies. I pay for all the dumb shit she wants to do, nails, lashes, blah, 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 blah. And then I take care of her baby. And I pay for her school, which is $13.50 because it's Miami and they're half Jewish and they just, I don't know, fucking expensive ass baby school. And then I pay for her mom, for her things for her mom. I'm taking care of 3 women. So me being Captain Save a Hoe wasted a whole year of my life. I probably lost some like hairs in my head. And yeah, bro. Captain Save a Hoe is a loser. I am not gonna lie. Captain Save a Hoe is not gonna make it. You cannot save a hoe. Once a girl is a hoe, once you have the clear indication of her being a hoe or her was being a hoe, there's nothing saving her. Fuck my ex. If it's a girl that is currently, on Instagram posting her pictures, lusting, cleavage, hanging out with females that go out and party and do OnlyFans or sugar daddies. You can't just save that girl. You can't just take her out of that because once a girl knows how easy it is in this world to not be smart and to just make money doing like degenerate stuff, they're not gonna want to think about like, oh yeah, you know what? Let me break everything off in my life that I have going on right now and let me go study and go to college or be a doctor. No, that's never going to happen. Once these girls see how easy it is for these girls to make money off, even if it's Instagram and TikTok, it doesn't even have to be OnlyFans. They're not going to want to change that. Um, I've seen it countless times. The rich guy who walks in and tries to save the girl, and it backfires on him because she gets bored, or just, he's a beta, he's a simp. So it's like, no, fuck that Captain Save-A-Ho shit. I'm stamping on it.
I really want to add to that. Oh my gosh, and then I'm just losing the train of thought.
It's okay,
I was
that
so
happens.
excited that it escaped me. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh no, I have it. Okay, so I know very, very good women, right? I cannot tell you how many times I've heard, you know what, if it doesn't work out, I'll just do OnlyFans. If it doesn't work out, I'll just get a sugar daddy. If it doesn't work out, I'll just sell feet pics, something like that.
Yo, if nobody's talking, I think what you're talking on right now, Aries, is such an important thing, especially
Yo,
men
Peyton was talking.
not going
Yo,
out
Peyton
here.
was talking,
Peyton was
brother.
talking. Peyton was
talking.
Oh, I
fam.
apologize.
It's okay. Can you hear me, Isaac?
Nah, drop him and bring him back
think
up. He
I don't
can't
think
hear
he
it.
could.
Oh, okay. That's all good. But yeah, there's a lot of women, because of what's available today in the quote online marketplace. A lot of them kind of feel like they have a backup and doing these more degenerate things to make money if it doesn't work out with their high paying job, with their career that they somewhat half-heartedly enjoy. Like, that's a great point that you added, that they are not really valuing having to be smart or having to just be like a high quality woman, because it's so easy to be the opposite. It's so yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's fucked. 1000%. 1,000,000%.
Well, we
These
got to
women
kind of
out
take
here.
it to a concept that they're working overtime with the propaganda of trying to get people to be distracted and do these things that throw them off of a natural frequency. Like, look at Sexy Red. I work at a club. I see it, and there's a lot of the time that Sexy Red influences the harlots to act as such, and there's nothing that I can do personally to save it. I wouldn't want to save that. Once you see it so many times, you understand, like, all right, like, the elephant has a natural habitat, the tiger has a natural habitat, and so does the hoe. And she loves to be outside. I'll tell you that. And if you try and take that away from her, she's going to give you a lot of pushback. And it's not anything that anyone should ever want to do, because just like how Gary talks about the law of opposites, for every hoe that's out there, there's a good woman. But guess what? The good women are still living with their parents. They're inside. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to plan on their next move to how they can make it through this matrix without having to subject themselves to promiscuity and their sexuality only being their only source of commodity. And I personally enjoy a woman that has a sense for metaphysics, or at least be open-minded. Like, you can, and to speak a little bit about what you said, Aries, because sometimes the 5 body count, I never really thought about like that. And I myself was in a similar situation, dating a single mother that would just not leave me alone. And like, once the kid is involved, she has to take a step back and understand that every move that she makes is got to be calculated, because she's not trying to waste time. If this motherfucker doesn't have resources, or isn't cool, or doesn't make her laugh, or doesn't give her any confidence in what she's doing, she's not gonna waste time. She might play a front and make it seem like this is a relationship, but best believe she's juggling those other options, because if you do fail, she got to keep this ball rolling, because she got a kid to look out for. And it's not personal, it's just how the game goes. FNF talks about it in depth, about how women are biologically inclined to extract resources, and you can't be mad at them. It's like, if I would want my sister and mom to find someone that was doing good, well off, so that they didn't have to work as hard. Like, I get it, but yeah, there is a level of promiscuity that is just being sent out throughout the world, and we got to be honest, man. Some of the promiscuous women could be our parents, could be our mother.
Yep.
mean that you're gonna treat her that way, but hey, someone said it best. Like a lot of these women were trying to get in these music videos back in the early '90s. They were trying to get into the music videos too, and some of them are our parents. And you gotta identify the unnatural and then take it out. Now that you know what the problem is, you can become more natural, get to the healthier side of things. Just because you were a hoe doesn't mean you have to continue to be a hoe for the rest of your life. I mean, it's gonna be hard. Don't get me wrong. Just because you were an asshole doesn't mean you got to continue to be an asshole for the rest of your life. It's gonna come with a lot of unwinding the bad habits. And once you're chemically addicted to certain things, it's hard to just up and stand up and say, all right, well, today I'm gonna not be a hoe and I'm gonna dodge the sexual urges that come to my body that I've been getting for the last 10 years. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You gotta literally put your ego and pride to the side and learn from someone that does have it figured out, like Peyton. If you want to be Andrew Tate said it too. If you want to be around charismatic people, or if you want to have charisma, you got to be around charismatic people. If you want to be around athlete, or if you want to be an athlete, you got to be around athletes. It's that simple. So if you want to have good morals as a woman, then you got to hang out with good morals, or women that have good morals. Birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I see that Elgato had his hand up, and also BD252. So I don't know which one was first, but each of you, go ahead.
So I wanted to push back a little on something. One of the speakers, I think he dropped. His name is Guerrero. I wanted to add to something that he said and push back a little bit regarding beta males. I think definitely, I believe it matters the way a guy carries himself plays a big role, especially when it comes down to self-respect. Beta males tend to not respect themselves. They tend to do things that are not good for them, and I believe that definitely the way people carry themselves has a big role in determining an alpha and beta. Like, for example, if you're not waking up early and getting on the grind, working towards a better future, working on yourself, trying to become better every day, I think that definitely plays a big role. But I wanted to ask Peyton what she thinks on that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The outer worlds and the experiences we have can only be shaped by how we feel about ourselves, because we're going to attract what we are. So if we're not respecting ourselves, well, there's no way we're going to be able to respect other people, and other people aren't going to be able to respect us either. So everything in life literally stems from you. That's why I say you can never escape yourself. And why would you even want to? You came to this life to evolve yourself as a person, as a soul. So the respect has to start from you giving it to yourself. That's the only way you'll be able to give it to others, and then others will be able to give it back to you. It's all connected.
Peyton, I got a question for you from my community. But first, BD252, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Um, okay, to piggyback off the conversation you guys were having earlier, with saving these females before they get to college. And like I'm a 20-year-old man, right? And I meet a lot of girls, 18, 19, 20, whatever. And I don't know, this could just be my personal experience, but these girls are leaving high school with 4 and 5 bodies before they even get to college. So it's like, what would you guys say to that? Like, should a young man like myself try to save these young girls, like the girl with 3 or 4 bodies while they're still in high school? Or should I just keep searching and maneuvering until I find a, nice, sweet girl with 1 or 2?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do. This is the problem with American politics. America is a falling country right now from a moral standpoint. So yeah, 4 to 5 is actually maybe even lower than what I've seen, what I'm hearing. So there is not much you can do. This is why the whole idea of saving them, you can save them as much as you want before they become hoes or become mentally ill or unstable. But the thing is you cannot stop American mainstream media. So, you know, it's affecting everywhere globally. Now, Miami is not the place to go find a girl right now. California is not the place to go. So your best shot is the Midwest. But even then, the internet spans all the world. It's called the New World Order for a reason. You know, no religion is the new religion. She doesn't believe in God, but her shoes are Christian. That's how it works.
Bars.
And if you guys don't mind, I have another question. Right, I'm a 3 life path monkey, and I've usually found that I'm very compatible with 7s and 5s. But the girl that I've recently started talking to, she's a dog, and that is the enemy sign of my friend sign. So if I was wondering, is there anything I should worry about, or when I have sex with her, should I worry about my energy with the dragon like being compromised or anything like that? Like, what would you guys say to that?
Yeah, there's not much you can do. I mean, she's in her enemy years, so if you start dating a girl, etc., obviously 18 above. The other issue is that it's like I think we lost connection. I don't know, but it gets you both ways. So you want to get them when they're not 25, 26 after college. You want it, so it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to add to what you said earlier about girls just off the rip out of high school having like a 5. I would say, even though it seems like a majority, there's still girls out there who don't have that. So if you, going back to the self-respect thing, if you had such high self-respect for yourself, it wouldn't translate into you being with a girl who has low self-respect, right? Because you would just simply not tolerate that. So it is going to be better in one regard to avoid those women completely and just hold out for the right one to come along, which she will. If you're elevating yourself as a man, the universe, God, whoever, has no choice but to match you with what you give yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. That's why, over the last month and a half, I would say I've been on semen retention. I've been, trying to get myself right mentally, because in the past I did used to whore around with these girls and, giving them my time and energy for no reason. And I seen that it was a waste of time. But yeah, the longest I went on semen retention, it was 33 days before, last week one of my exes hit me up and, but another question I have, like, so Gary said Chinese astrology supersedes any and all other forms of astrology. So I'm an Aquarius, and the girl that I have is a Pisces. Like, does that have any, like, with that super? It wouldn't supersede Chinese astrology, but will we be more compatible because of that? No.
You guys to get along so Aquarius is the 11th sign, Pisces is the 12th. They're next to each other for a reason, because if you start from Aquarius, you looked at Pisces would be considered the second sign from Aquarius, and 2 is represented by Taurus, which is represented by the planet of Venus. So you have some essence of Venusian essence, because simply Aquarius is right next to Pisces. And if we go even deeper, if we start to like get really microscopic, there is the end degrees of Aquarius and the beginning degrees of Pisces actually share a lot of the similar qualities. You can learn that from Vedic astrology as well.
It's a great point. And, we went from the era of Pisces, right? So Constantine, the Roman emperor, made Christianity popular. He wore a fish hat. You see all the Christians in their minivans today with the fish logo on the back of them. And it went from, Pisces energy to Aquarius energy since 2000, roughly 2001. But yeah, Chinese astrology will always supersede Western. Western is very good for health. It's very good for basics. It's not very good for predictions. Vedic is still very good to some extent. Not a fan of it personally, never will be, but still there is value there. But yeah, and Taurus being the second sign, I want to teach everyone something a little bit about astrology. Venus is represented in the matrix as the mirror. So if you ever try to date a Taurus woman, they want to feel good when they look good in the mirror, as any woman would. But the men are the same exact way. If they don't dress well, they don't feel good about themselves. Again, Venus is all about lust, love, etc. And that's why in the era of Taurus, all these beautiful Roman Colosseums were built, etc. So it's beauty is Venus.
Right, the luxury, the finer things in life, the traveling, the better tasting foods. But just to kind of take a bit of a turn back to the topic about how to identify beta male, I want to say like one thing that I think that I didn't quite understand growing up when chasing after girls and just kind of seeing how society is functioning in Southern California. I think it's really important that you guys become the man. Like you literally just got to become the man, because when you have it all set together, when you have your fitness together, your finances, your mind, your spirit, your soul, you have the ability to release the potential of becoming insecure. Because if you are insecure, it speaks volumes. You don't even have to necessarily do too much. It's felt amongst people. So we often would like to be in relationships, whether it's monogamous or whatever you prefer. But I just want to make a very key point to how important it is to become the man. Because let's say if you're not quote unquote the man and you're not really at your best and you're dating this girl and you go somewhere, maybe you guys go to a party, you go to a different location, and the man happens to be in the same room, and all of a sudden he's interested in speaking to your girl, but not in a way that he wants to belittle you, but it's just simply the fact that he's having a conversation. You don't like the way that he's speaking just because he has achieved a different level of greatness. I don't want that to happen to anyone, because it does suck. And that's the beta. That's a real beta, is when a man that is simply just moving or operating in his masculine essence because he's achieved a level of greatness is able to reveal the betas by how their behavior will be when the woman that they like gives the man, the quote unquote man, the actual attention. Because the man is gonna get attention from all the girls. He is the man. That's what we consider the boss. So it's best that you might as well become the boss, become the man, so you don't have to go through that, because that is beta behavior. That's something that I hate to see it. It can be as simple. I'm a promoter, so sometimes I got to go talk to a group of people, and simply just me talking to people will highlight certain men's insecurities. And it's not. I'm not trying to take away your girl, dude. Trust me. I have to work. I'm just trying to get you guys a free shot, but it's just sometimes your vibration might push people away, or it might attract people. But being a beta and being insecure have something in common, because to be insecure means to be without. And if you are secure, that's where the alpha, that's where the man really is. He's secure. He got to that level of security by becoming the man. And now he knows that no one can take away what is meant for him, whether it's physically or in divine mind. Because some of us got cosmic gifts. We were inherited with this gift that no one can take away from you. So I want to just really highlight that. Become the man before you even try and grab a girl and be monogamous with her, and do the long run, because it's gonna hurt, dog. You put down 3 years down payment with her, you take her to the club, and then this guy can just get her or you take her to a party and he just has everything set up, like his life is just looking pristine. He doesn't have to do as much work. He's achieved greatness. It's gonna hurt when the girl that you love gives attention to another man. It does. In 1933, I think you wanted to say something, and I've actually been seeing your tweets, man. I just wanted to let you know that the dog trine. I heard that the dog trine might have been the top trine. I was just kind of curious.
Cap, cap. Get out of here with that shit, bro. But look, y'all. Let me give y'all some actual game real fast, right? Because it's a lot deeper than rap when it comes to this, right? So I'm gonna put it just like this. I feel like I know, because off of my experience in real life, right? I know for a fact, if you're able to find a good woman when you're not at your best, not saying mentally, I mean as in like um tangible wise, as in like you may not have the car you want, right? You may not have the house you want, You may not have the career you want, right? But if you find a woman that actually believes in you and look up to you, right, despite your current circumstances, right, as long as she has real hope and faith in you as a man, that's all you need. And also the other thing what I'm trying to get into is, right, most people get into relationships too fast. Like, for example, I'm a Capricorn, right? And I don't know if it's also because I'm an ox, whatever, but I'm very picky with who I even give my time and energy with in the first place. I'm gonna already fill you out. I'm gonna fill you out off rip. I'm gonna ask you all the most critical questions. I'm not gonna wait until we get into a situation and be like, oh my gosh, I never knew you would do that to me. No, because that's your problem. Y'all put too much expectations on people without them actually going through shit. Like understand, like, for example, like it took me probably like a year plus to even tell my girl that I loved her. She took it personal, but I'm telling her what it is. Like, listen, like, we ain't really go through nothing. Like, I don't really trust you like that. Understand? And that's why I guess I have good karma with women, because I keep it a buck. Like, I don't sugarcoat nothing. Like, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I'm not gonna steer you wrong with nothing, right? But that's also the main thing, because now, even even if you did get the bag and you got $1 million and $1 billion, first of all, a hoe is still a hoe. So you could be the richest guy in the world, giving her a fucking Amex card with unlimited credit on it. She's still gonna fuck the pool boy. Understand? She still might come across a fucking nigga like me, and just off the fact that I make her laugh real fast, right? And fucking you ain't make her laugh in like a month, right? Out of nowhere, she get now me and her fucking now. Off of nothing. I ain't have to do shit, but you over there supplying her whole life. Understand? Like this shit get deep in the rap. Like, you gotta really just look at the people. You gotta actually put them in situations. Like, again, for example, boom. Even when I wasn't at my top tier person, how I am now, like financially stable, I got the money. I could be in any spot with anybody and not feel insecure, right? Whatever the case may be, cool. But even when I was younger, and I had my girlfriend, I had brothers, bros that was already lit, got money, got cars, got cribs, everything else. They always come around. You gotta basically throw her into the wolves. Like you gotta see how she's going to react. Understand? Like, you can't just shield her from everything. Like, oh, I'm gonna make sure you don't go outside, and I'm gonna make sure that. And then now, when she finally get that little bit of attention, she don't know how to react. She just jumping. Oh yeah, she's right. Understand? Like, think of it like a Aisha Curry, from like Stephen Curry's wife. Understand? Like, like she even said it herself. She's still long for the attention of other men. But how come he don't know that? Because somebody's not keeping it real. Like, y'all don't talk deeply with each other. Like, that's the problem. Everybody just getting babies off of 1 year, off of dealing with each other, or you guys getting married within 2 years, but y'all never went through nothing. Like, the whole 2 years y'all was together, it was peaches and cream.
Right.
And then soon as shit hit the fan, y'all don't even know how to react. Now you never even seen each other at each other's lowest. Like, that's the real key to the thing. If you never saw each other at each other's lowest, like fucking bottom, understand? There's no point of getting married. Understand? That's a fact. And I always told myself, if I don't get married by the time I'm a fucking billionaire, millionaire, whatever, I feel like it's less of a chance of me getting married. Because how the fuck do I know you really fuck with me or not? Because you already see I got all this money in this cars and shit. So now, say I got the Lamborghini, but somebody pull up in the Bugatti. The fuck? Now it's like, are you gonna pick and choose from there? Because I don't know you for real. Understand? Like, bro, the shit gets deeper than rap. Long story short, y'all, just go off the energies, love yourself. It don't matter if you rich, if you poor, because I'm telling you, I know plenty of broke dudes that smashing all types of chicks that got husbands that got money, and they even giving them the money from their husbands. Like, the husband, like, yeah, honey, take this 1,000 for the day, and she going out tricking with him. Understand? Like, I'm trying to tell y'all, it gets deep in the rap. It's like, bro, it's crazy. Like, you gotta just know the person who y'all dealing with. That's it. You gotta put them in situations. You gotta know how to react. You gotta pay attention. That's all.
Hell, you do have to do a background check. I'll admit that the background check is very important. But just to add on to what you said in a little bit, closing statement for what I said, I really like to see. Every time I see an alpha man, he got a really attractive girl, and he doesn't care who she talks to, because he's so secure. He's like, she's still coming with me. At the end of the day,
Facts.
he lets her
Facts,
talk,
bro.
and it's so fly. It's so fly to see it be done, because it makes you think, like, you want to ask him questions like, yo, like, so what do you do, man? Because he's you can feel when someone got anxiety, when they're tense, when they're threatened, and it's a cool thing to see when everyone can win. So 1933, I appreciate you saying that. That is true. If you can make her laugh and you don't have it all made for yourself, that is very much so true. But as being men it's important that we do have finances.
You?
Yeah. Hey, Red Pill, I got a question for you, brother.
I'm here. Let's get it.
The question is from a member of my community. Can you reform a beta male and transform him into an alpha male?
Oh man. Oh man. Yes, I can. I believe I have the power to unbitch any fucking guy. Unless he's
How?
a low key, fag, like he's gay on the
I think
low.
that has to come from the guy transforming.
Yeah, unless
Red
he's
Pill
like
can't do it. He can't save them.
he can't.
They
I
have to
can't.
save themselves.
Hold
You
on.
can't just teach someone to be an alpha. Alpha.
Hold
They
on.
gotta.
You could
They
put
gotta
somebody in a
do it.
corner.
They gotta
You
be
could
it.
put somebody
You
in a
gotta be in
corner.
frame.
You
And I
could
just
put.
mean frame by security. Back to Taken's point. You gotta be
Listen,
secure within yourself.
listen. If a
Facts.
beta male is scared and he's pussy and he likes fucking and
And you
he's
can't really
not
teach
gay,
that. You gotta learn that
he's
yourself.
if he's not gay,
To answer your question for Red Pill,
can you guys hear me?
Dale, can you hear Red Pill?
no, I can't.
Oh, he was talking. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
My
You
bad,
still
Red
can't.
Pill.
You're fine, man. You're fine.
Can
You
you
will
still hear?
like
Can you hear me or not?
Just drop
Yeah,
down, bring it back up.
I can. I can. Like, for example, last week, a lot of people DM me that they thought Grand Commander was, shitting up, like he was telling Gary to shut up. And no, he was telling Joshua to shut up. And at the recording, you can literally hear Joshua talking over Grand Commander. And at the space, I didn't hear Joshua at all. So, this is the things what happen with spaces. So, yeah, don't worry about that. Red Pill. So, how would you reform a beta male? Like, talk to me about your reform a beta male plan.
I'd probably drill him like a fucking sergeant, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I went through a lot of violent fucking shit in prison, and any little bitch shit that I had in me was gone, taken away from me in there. So I'm super glad that that happened because before prison, um, I was a degenerate. I was popping Zans, doing coke. I was doing a bunch of dumb shit. I was scared about a bunch of shit, and in there, my big dogs, my 30, 40-year-old big homies that put me on and laced me up on how to hustle for real, how to do things for real, the mental warfare that pretty much controls everything in there. I'd probably break the fuck out of somebody and then just tell them that they're not themselves anymore. Like, if you're a man, bro, you gotta go through shit. If you haven't gone through shit, you're not a man. If you haven't gone through hardships, you're not a man. If you haven't gone through anything, you're not a man. Because when something happens and you have to go through something and you've never been through that, you're looking left and you're looking right because you're looking for help. You're not gonna want to do it yourself. So yeah, I could break a beta male and make him a man. I could do it.
Uh, Dale. Oh, go ahead, VK. Go ahead, VK.
No, I just want to say this is why the trust fund babies always get cheated on with the pool boy, right? So, and this is why women are naturally attracted to men who are older because they've been through more crap in their life. They've gone through problems. They've had this, so they've experienced adversity. So, go ahead, guys.
Dale, I have a question specifically for you from my community. They want to be also a part of the Masonic craft, but they're asking me to ask you a question. Do Freemasons discriminate gay people, or beta males?
Do they what?
Do Freemasons discriminate gay people or beta males?
No, no, I don't. I don't think they do. We have plenty of them, and they're quite good at planning events and helping us do things. So I don't think we discriminate against them at all.
Well, in Tennessee, they found out there's a gay guy who joined, and they deemed him unmasonic. I mean,
It depends. It depends on the state and where you're going, and it depends on the group of guys that like the lodge specifically. I don't think within our values we should be discriminating against them based on what I know about. Masonic ritual in general. But with that being said, that's not to say it doesn't happen. But I don't think as a whole we discriminate against them. No. But sure, I'm sure there's exceptions.
Yeah, and it might be more like, well, like, I don't know. I can't speak on I never want to speak on behalf of any Grand Lodge, but like the military had don't ask, don't tell for a very long time. So, you know, I'm not so sure how it would work out if you're too open with it. But again, we don't discriminate based off Masonic law. So I want to be careful here and be fair to all the Grand Lodges. Everyone's different.
Absolutely, absolutely. Peyton, I have a question for you. Do females notice a guy's intentions?
I have a question. I love how you say that. Is my audio okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. You guys are all walking with me on a golf course right now, just so you know. Can you ask the question again? Do women always know the male's intention?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
No, they definitely don't. And I know from experience, but also just from the many accounts from my close friends and just my female clients as well. Women have an amazing intuition, and they usually go against it because they have an ideal in their mind. So women are very fantastical. When I say fantastical, I mean they have strong fantasy abilities, therefore making them fantastical. So they'll dream up this wonderful life or this wonderful partner, this wonderful person that they're just going to run away with and have this amazing life with. And they will often try to pick and choose the interactions that she's had with this guy, or the behaviors or attitudes or accolades that this guy has to help paint her beautiful, amazing dream. So instead of following her intuition, which tells her right off the bat if this person is good for her, and a lot of times it's not, she will go against that. So I would say that she can actually pick up on the intention immediately, but 9 times out of 10, she's not going to. And that's not to say that 9 times out of 10, there's bad guys coming into her life. But assuming she's not married and hasn't found the one, well, then yeah, that would be true. So women know the intentions, but they often ignore.
All right.
Just to add to that.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, my fault. Oh yeah, just to add to what Peyton said, right? That is actually facts, right? Because again, like back when I was, doing my 5 life path stuff, right? Whatever, cool. I already know like the psychic, like how to say it, it's like the psychic shit like behind it. Like I know how they think, like from like back to front. So it's like the more you don't like them, honestly, the more they want you. And mind you, like it was plenty of them. They was fine, beautiful. There's other guys that was like, yo, bro, you messing with her, bro. Whole time I'm treating her like nothing, like regular. Cause honestly, I don't know what it is, but it's like the more that you don't like them, or like the more you just treat them like, it's like the more they chase, right? But like let you be the dude that's like, hey baby, let's go here, or oh I got you flowers. Oh yeah, let's open this door for you, and then you can sit down in the car, and then I walk all the way back around and then get it. All that other shit, right? She's gonna leave you, bro. I'm telling you. She's not, and mind you, she might not even leave you because you're gonna think, well, he is a good guy. He's a very good guy. Like I don't want to let him go. But again, women still want experience. Like especially if you're not giving her that type of experience that she longed for, she's going to get that experience elsewhere. That's a fact. So that is a definite fact. Like it's like a balance that you gotta do with it. It's like yes, love her, be lovey dovey and all, but also still put your foot down. Also, you don't gotta do everything that she wants to do. I don't know. Like that's like a quick tip that I can give y'all real fast.
That was awesome. I wanted to add to a point where you talked about chasing, and I talked about this earlier, but women reject themselves very often and very harshly. And what I mean by that is that they don't appreciate themselves, they put themselves down, they judge themselves, they pick everything apart about themselves, especially with the way that they look. And this typically comes from society programming them to feel like they're not enough, constantly selling them this beauty product and these clothes and these treatments and these procedures. And so women reject themselves so much that when men reject them, they don't really know anything different. So in order to try to seek some kind of validation, it's this cat and mouse push and pull, like, oh, I don't want him, he doesn't want me, I want him. It's just all this back and forth stuff, which is really indicative of her poor psychology. So women will chase men who are not good for them just for a cheap form of validation, because they're rejecting themselves so much that when someone who once rejected them now wants them, at least for a tiny moment, they're like, oh my gosh, I accomplished something. Oh, maybe I can feel good about myself. Maybe I can permit myself now to feel good. So it's all really messed up.
Damn, you translated that from womanese to English. That was perfect because that's what I wanted womanese for so damn long. And man, it's an attack on the psyche on both sides. It's an attack on the psyche on both sides. So if we don't strengthen our subconscious and our psyche, it's gonna be hard to love yourself because your auto suggestion, meaning when you're not consciously thinking of anything, the thoughts that are being suggested to yourself or whatever you've been doing for the last 30 days. And it's very important that you take the time to learn about yourself and learn how to actually love yourself. And loving yourself does come with isolation, and it is going to be a little bit of uncomfortable at times when you're by yourself, but that's when you learn about yourself. Yeah, I know it can be tough to look in the mirror. It can be a little bit uncomfortable to have to, look at yourself and be accountable with yourself, but it's really rewarding. And women from all ages, they do pick apart themselves, and we can see it is more common than ever. And it's actually it's kind of crazy because it's like I don't look at the BBL and just think, all right, that's a BBL. I look at what's going on upstairs, and that's just a reflection of what's going on in your mind, and it's portraying literally out into the matrix because you got to ask that sitting on some 22s, but your your legs is coming in at like a size motherfucking teenage girl. It makes no sense, and yeah, I would just like to say take care of your psychology, take care of your psyche, take care of your subconscious mind. Listen to other people that speak and the fluidity of how they can speak and how to become a best version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with not knowing what to say and not having the answers. That's actually how you become better. From beta to alpha, because I agree with Red Pill, you can turn a beta into an alpha. And the only reason I say that is because there's never one alpha that existed for eternity. The beta has to step up and become an alpha at one point. That's the cycle. But it's all about timing. Sometimes the beta might be like, you know what, I want to be alpha right now. And I'm going to challenge the other alpha and take him out. Or maybe you might have the honor from the alpha, and the honor from the alpha has been directed to the beta that we've all thought that could be a prospect for an alpha. And the alpha ascends the beta into position at the right time. And you don't know what you're really made of until you get pushed up against a wall. When, like how Red Pill said, when all odds are against you, and you push the dog up against the corner, you're gonna see what the dog has to do to defend. Just like people, they foreshadow in animes as well. My Hero Academia. You got the little petite fragile guy running into battle. He doesn't know what he said. Well, why am I running into battle? What's going on? Like, I feel this in the essence to be a hero. And before you know it, he's the hardest motherfucker in the show in a little while. I mean, look at Naruto. Like, he started off as a little fucking gumpy ass motherfucker too. Like, but he still knew. He was like, look, I'm small right now, but I got this nine tails in my pocket and I'll up it if I need to. And he spoke his way into existence. So I love to see I love to, and this is the big thing too. Dame Dash said it best. Everyone want to be a general and a CEO and a boss, but you don't want to do the things that come with that. That means when you get that call at 2:30 a.m. and your employees or your partner needs you, and you're over here lounging around with a chick, smoking on the hookah, man, you better push her off to the side and walk outside and go and make that phone call. That's what I know you need to do. because
Beta males ain't doing that though.
yeah, they're not. They're about to prioritize the cat. So I just want to throw that.
Facts.
in
Yeah.
there.
Facts.
And I want to tell everyone it's not always physical, right? It's you versus you. You got to be the best version of you. The world is not ran by people who are 6 foot tall and above. The world is ran by a bunch of 5'5" men. And we could go down that road. I'm not going to go down there. But again, John F. Kennedy, not the most alpha man in the world. He was the president of the United States. Truman, not a very big guy, president of the United States. So remember, the world, as much as they say 6'5" and above, this and that. No. The power of the pen in this era is much more important than the sword. So you got to have both, and you got to be the best version of you. It's you versus you.
Brains over brawn.
And I think Dale said it best, man. It's you have to work on. No one can save you. You have to save yourself. You have to put in the work. You have to save yourself. Like no one is gonna help shape. I mean, they can mentor you, yes, but no one is gonna turn you into that alpha. You have to work on yourself. You have to carry yourself a certain way. You have to respect yourself, because without that, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna be saved by nobody.
Yeah, so some of us are meant to be foot soldiers. Some of us are meant to be warriors. Some of us are meant to be guardians. Some of us are meant to be leaders. And there's nothing wrong with just knowing your position. So, look into your metaphysics. It'll help you. And it'll give you a lot more clarity to your day-to-day living when you feel honored to actually serve someone that's doing your purpose or a like-minded purpose better than you. And we can look at people, for example, like the saint and the sinner. Marquette Devon Burton. I'm not gonna say I agree with everything that he says, but man, the guy's been a millionaire since his early 20s, and he also helps make other people millionaires. So you can't be upset at someone that actually has a gift of being able to lead.
The very first time I was in a space with Taken, the guy who was just speaking, I could tell. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know anything about him. I could tell something about him was good just because of his voice. You notice how calm he is in his voice? And calm isn't talking slow. There's just a natural cadence and vibration that everyone's voice has that unconsciously gives you an indication of how they feel about themselves. So one of the tips that I'll speak a little bit more in depth on this in a bit, but I was going to share about beta males and how to identify them is really just in their voice. Even notice with VK, Dr. Marvel, Dale, they have a certain calm, confident demeanor about themselves, and it shows through how they speak.
Yeah, the lion's heartbeat literally beats super slow for a reason, and even athletes, you can see that athletes, when they're not on the court, their heartbeat beats really slow because they've achieved a level of understanding. If you're emotional and if you're anxious, you're not going to perform as well. But when you're calm and you can have clarity and you listen before you speak and you actually listen to comprehend, not listen to respond. Like Thor is a great example as well. He speaks from a place of understanding. He has been gifted with the gift to influence, and it's truly because he was able to influence himself. Some people, I hate the term of social media being referred to as an influencer. No, that's not like an influencer. Really, I think that's just a promoter or something. Like you're like an advertisement at the end of the day. But an influence is way too powerful to give that term to social media. Influence is literally me being able, or anyone being able, to get you to do whatever they need you to do without force. That's influence. Like, that's powerful. So if you can influence anyone to do anything, and whether it's in finances, dating, fighting, um, any type of business, then you really do have power. Because man, what's the need of me going and taking you out if I can influence you to take yourself out? Not to say that it's something nice that people should do, but they show it in Naruto again. They got motherfuckers they put them in genjutsus, and before you know it, they over here taking them damn self out. They're like, fuck it. You know what? It was a nice run. I'll see you next episode. or next season. So yeah, I don't want to take the mic for too long though. What else do we got?
We got actually new speakers. We got Jesse, Sapio, and Saspy. So Jesse, go ahead.
Hi, to everyone. So I just wanted to add to Peyton's a question that you guys asked regarding why do women make beta males and why do they make alpha women. And the reason why, since I do study psychologist, I'm a psychologist. I was born and raised in Mexico, and I still live here. But the reason why that is because the mother is living in a fight or flight response. So she's preparing her daughters to live the same life that she is currently living. So she's making the son, molding him into a way that she wished her husband or her partners would have been with her. That way, making them weak because she thinks that being a strong man will not make him to be a well presented provider male in the life. Instead of that, if she molds him into the husband that she couldn't have, which would be caring and weak and expressing his sentiments, that would make him be a partner for her instead of a rival. So the reason why most of the single mothers that raise beta males is because of that. It's the fact that they don't want to see their sons as someone that they can't trust because of what they haven't worked on themselves. I think that's the reason. Well, technically, that's the reason why they are building beta males because they are seeing it. And I am for, in this case, when a parent's divorce, if there's the son should be um, turned over to the father for him to raise, and she gets the weekends so that he can learn how to be a male. Because most of them, at least in Mexico, I've seen um, there's a more um, gay males in Mexico now. It's because most of their parents left, their father figure left, and there was no substitute for that father figure to teach him how to be a male. So now most of them, I'm seeing an increase in Mexico of how of gay guys coming out, and they are from standard mother, one household mother figure that they grew up with them, because we are trying to make them feminine so that they are not the enemy within inside the house, which it should be the opposite. We should start sharing them and
I
actually.
think you're breaking in and out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? It's raining, so maybe I have bad
Yeah, we can
connection.
hear you. I can
Okay,
hear you.
Again,
okay, so
Sounds good
yeah,
now.
again.
in Mexico, at least, I don't I see that there's also, because most of them moved to another country to provide for their families, so they live the mother as the head of the household, but they don't know how to show their male sons how to be males, so they try to mold them into being a partnership within, and then become like the best friend. But that in myself and psychologically thinking about it, and it's wrong because we should always have a father role for both women and male. We should have a mother and a father figure. When one of them is missing, that's when there's this imbalance of trying to make them weaker because of that, and then, or if there's only a father, you're trying to make them stronger and look down upon one sex of the other. And I think that's the reason. Well, that's actually the reason why that we're having all this made up fails, is because there's only one parent in the household. There should always be one, or at least a substitute of one, a cousin, an older cousin, an uncle, or a grandparent that can show the male how to be a male. And because his mother would always look down on him because of what her experience were with the opposite sex. And that's That's what I had to say.
A great point. Great job. Well put.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Marvel,
And I
just
think, and I
side
also
note, don't ask me to respond to anything Red Pill says. He's the only guy I can't hear.
Red Pill is not talking as far as I know.
I appreciate you, Dale. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these spaces, but
I don't know. Listen, I cannot take anybody up. Red Pill, it says that that you're requesting to be a co-host, but you're already a co-host. So I don't know if you can just drop and coming up. I will just make you a co-host as well.
You have too many speakers to add anyone new.
Yeah,
we gotta drop some. Okay. So
yeah, I will drop.
I had a question.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. I just wanted you guys' input on.
Yeah, I just want to say really quick, Jesse, that was right on the money. That's psychology for you right there. That is psychology for you right there. She hit that right on the money, and that's the unfortunate situation that we live in. But hey, guess what? Reality is fortunate and unfortunate. You just got to learn how to maneuver your way towards the fortunate side. So, yeah, you gotta figure it out, man. You don't have to be a beta. You can there's got to be something in between beta and alpha. You can be average. Why not? If you truly are called to become a beta at some point in time, then yeah, step up to the plate. Why not?
You actually opened up perfectly what I was going to ask. I wanted to ask everybody. And
I can't hear anything if anyone's speaking.
I think Copper or Cooper is talking, but I don't hear
It's
at
coming
all.
in really low.
Can you hear me now?
It's coming in really low.
Can you hear me now?
You got to get closer to your mic if it's possible.
yeah, check your Wi-Fi. Oh, never mind, because Wi-Fi. If you go off, it'll drop you. Yeah, check your mic.
But I got a question for Peyton actually. I got actually a lot for you, and I got two questions for Dale and VK. VK, I got a question for you as well, another for Grand Commander, and an announcement the Grand Commander has for the Masonic School inside of the 33 Club. The question for VK is this: what's your take as a Freemason in the Demon Ball?
Yeah, so the demon ball, all that stuff comes from King Solomon, the king of the Jews' work. So King Solomon is a huge focal point, as well as Judaism is, in Freemasonry. And King Solomon studied demonology, modern demonology. He studied spirits, and he studied magic. And the reason why ball is promoted as some sort of Freemason ordeal is because of King Solomon, which is the original king of the Jews. We do not worship any of that stuff. We do not learn any of that stuff. But when it comes down to King Solomon, we as Masons understand that there is a spiritual, esoteric part of life that is not talked about. And King Solomon is the most beautiful story of a man, because a man is never at his peak for only so long. So you're going to, a man's life is like a mountain. You climb the one mountain, then you go down, then you go up again. So he went from spiritual to losing all his spirituality to finding his spirituality again. And it's the ebbs and flows of life. But 100% esoteric magic is real. And King Solomon, in Judaism is very intertwined with that. So we do not worship Baal. We do not worship any sort of thing. We do not worship Lucifer at all. Light is light. Light is not Lucifer. Make that very clear.
Also, the question for Dale: what's your take on Baphomet?
Dale, are you there? I can take it as well.
Yeah, I'm here, but I didn't hear the question. I'm not hearing all the speakers.
What's your take on Baphomet is the question.
The goat guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've said it before, but I think Masonry is being set up to be the scapegoat. But as far as Baphomet goes, I mean, he's just one of the deity that is in charge of the physical realm to some extent. But
can you go into the why we're being set up as the goat? Because you have one of the best takes in Freemasonry on the goat, why we're being set up as the scapegoat, and Baphomet's the goat man. Kind of, can you give that to the people again? Because some people might want to hear that.
Well, I would just say that usually when you are getting initiated into Masonry, especially MM degree, they always have this joke within the lodges, which is watch out for the goat, watch out for the goat. And I always thought it was peculiar. I always thought it was interesting. And really, I thought it was silly. And they even have like goat crossing signs in some of the lodges that I've seen throughout my travels. And basically, to some extent, that is almost manifesting their own setup to many levels, because there is no goat in any of the rituals. There's nothing. So I always thought it was peculiar.
All right, I got more questions, but we're gonna go with Peyton. Thank you, VK and Delph, for answering that. And Grand Commander, I send you a mic so we can talk about the announcement of the Masonic School. I know you want to, give homework. I think it's going to be a weekly thing as well. I think it will be either Thursdays or Fridays. I'm not sure. I think Thursdays or Tuesdays. I'm you gotta help me out with that, brother. But Peyton, the backup guys, are they beta males for you? And why would a woman have a backup guy?
What do you mean by backup guy? Like orbiters or guys that she's talking to actively?
So I think the way that this guy is asking the question is, when there is like a guy that it could be used as an option in case something goes wrong with the main guy.
Well, in her mind, he's a beta, but if he doesn't know that he's a backup, if he thinks he's the one, then that's different. But if a guy is like just waiting around for her to be single, or if he's talking to her, like simping over her, namely online in the DMs, things like that, it's absolute beta behavior. I don't recommend it. If a guy wants to be with a girl, he's gonna let her know. She's gonna say, yes, I'm down, or no, I'm seeing someone else, or no, I'm not interested. And that's it. And he needs to move on. If he wants to be alpha and have self-respect, that's what he does.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, I'm not a man, but from a female perspective, yes.
Well, I think it's really important, and I use this tactic. It's 2024. I'm not saying that there's not good girls out there, and I've been rejected more times than a lot of people have tried. Seriously, like that's how I got good. It's by it's by spitting that game, and just like regardless, you want to get so good to the point is when she says no, at least she has a smile on her face. So when she comes across the next guy, she's gonna be like, "Damn, I should have gave that guy a chance because he was spitting." You dig? So man, it's getting tricky. Sometimes you talk to a girl in the wrong setting too much. She might think that you might want to meet her or get her to meet your parents. But if you like say what's up, you just introduce yourself and go about your business as if you don't need her, as you probably shouldn't. She's more interested, and it always works out 9 times out of 10 better for the man when the woman is more interested into the man. She wants you to be interested in her, but innately at the very first stages you gotta kind of show her, look, I'm focused on this hustle. I'm going after what I need to provide for myself and future queen and family. Then she will have security in you, and then that's when you can, switch the direction more towards her. But initially, she's looking for a leader. She wants you to hustle. Trust me, she likes the attention, but she gets attention from several guys, the orbiters. I like that phrase that you use, Peyton. She gets attention from the orbiter. So if you're doing what an orbiter does, then she's gonna make you another orbiter. But if you're doing what a boss does, which is get your attention, let her know, look, this is the way we're going. And it's simple as that. Like I'll give you a little tip. Whenever a girl tries to tell me to follow her on Instagram, I'm like, all right, if I follow you, where are we going? And they never know what to say. Never. And I'm like, all right, well, look, that's why you follow me because I know where we're going. We're going to go with my procedure. It's simple. It's simple as that. You know, it's the little things. It's just her having security that this guy got confidence and she can trust his actions. So, you know, chasing after a woman isn't ideal if you don't have your situation set up. You know, if you don't have the ability to take the next week off of work comfortably and know that your finances and your situation is not gonna be the worst, then yeah, don't chase, man. Like you gotta plant seeds. Stop trying to smack in the first night. You like some people got it like that, but a lot of us don't, and it really does demean her value if you just wanna smack on the first chapter. Like, bro, maybe chapter 4 or 5, maybe chapter 6, but goddamn, you're gonna disrespect her by just trying to force her to have something so intimate in the first chapter. Like, you think that she's obligated to give you her body? Nah, there's nothing. There's nothing fly about that. And realistically, if you are fly, then shit, she might just want to give it on the first chapter. But it takes practice.
Yes, please do not
Well, and
force
you,
nothing,
I'd
y'all.
like to
yeah, don't. And you said it a few times,
let me
taken
chime in
security.
here for a little bit.
That's what you gotta. That's that's all they're looking for. You need to provide security. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah,
big time. That security is everything, man. You know, I worked in the medical field for 4 years, so I've healed hundreds of people, and it's given me a lot of confidence in dealing with people. And I do have a gift, and I found it out through Earth astrology, Chinese feng shui, metaphysics. I can talk to anyone as if I know them, and I found that out. So I think it's really important that everyone just takes, and I really do express this because the more that you know yourself, the more that you're able to accomplish in life. There's something about a man that is sure of himself, that is not a drifter, that is inevitably going to make it to success because failure doesn't phase him. It doesn't matter from any angle of life. Failure cannot stop a true man. Failure is a part of the game. That's how we all get good. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather went 50-0, but guess what? He took a lot of L's up in them gyms when the cameras were on with his pops, with his uncle, and y'all didn't see it. A lot of people like to think that this shit's gonna happen overnight, and it's not. That's disrespect to the game, man. Like we are here. It's life. You're supposed to get good. Like you're supposed to have obstacles and errors. That's how you learn. It's not a loss. It's a lesson. And I see that we have a couple of hands. I think Angela had her hand
Yeah,
up
Angela.
first.
Yeah,
Angela,
we
go
got
ahead.
first we got AL One Star in here. He's been in here for a while. He's a Masonic brother. Go ahead, AL One Star.
Thanks, and I won't be too long. I just want to give a little words of experience here. I might be one of the oldest one in here. I'm 50.
I think his
I grew
mic
up
is taking
in.
a little time to render. I can't hear him if he is speaking.
Can you hear me?
We can hear him. There's problems going on with Dale.
Yeah,
And
we
there's
got
problems
him.
with everybody
Yeah,
in here.
yeah. Some of the
All right.
speakers we just can't hear, but we got him.
Okay.
All right. Can
I'll
you hear me
drop and
there?
just bring me back.
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. Go ahead.
All right. All right. So, being one of the older people in this space, I'm 50. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and the way you spot a beta male is they're online. They didn't exist. In the 80s and 90s, there was no such thing. We were alpha boys, alpha men, and that was it. Betas were at home. They were nerds. They were geeks. You didn't hear from them. Uh, Caitlyn Jenner, better known as Bruce Jenner, is case in point. If when he was at the height of his Olympic career in the 70s and 80s and wanted to be a woman, you would never have heard from him again. That's a beta male now. The problem here is the internet, social media has given rise to beta males having beta balls. And that's where they get them from. They're online, they're doing what they do, and they have a voice and a platform to speak from. And that's the only reason we even know they exist. That's how to identify a beta male. They're online, they're on Instagram, they're out, they're liberals, they're out for their cause and whatnot. But a man in real society, in real life, always has to be a man. He's going to be an alpha male. If you're out and you're going to meet a woman, an alpha male will take her 100% of the time. A beta male wouldn't even have a shot. And that's how I grew up. The 80s and 90s. 90s, when I was dating, I got married for the first time in the 90s. There was no such thing as a beta male. I never saw one. Why? He was either getting his ass kicked or he wasn't out. But those of us that are out, males, we were out. And the great women, they were out. And that's what we went after. And women, you just went after them. There was no such thing as a beta male. In fact, there was no such thing as an alpha male. If the term was even used, it was about dogs. There's an alpha dog. But a man still in real life is a man, and there's no such thing as a male. So that's really all I wanted to chime in on from that part. And as far as masonry goes, I don't think there's anybody better than VK or Dale to answer those questions. They're always very well versed and very knowledgeable. But don't be fooled by beta males. They don't exist in the real world. No such thing.
Dude, you brought up a great point, my
Yes.
fellow brother. You literally killed it with Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, a lot of people don't know this. Bruce Jenner, around 2015, killed a woman or a person on the 101 out in California, going like 70 miles per hour in his Range Rover. Within 6 months, Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner. So he was going to go to jail, Bruce, and they gave him a choice. Hey, do you want to go to jail or do you want to come out and be become Caitlyn? Now the plot thickens. They also gave him another deal and said, Bruce, we want you to be transgender, but you don't have to be open about it. You don't have to be like in the mainstream. You can kind of go away and become Caitlyn. But they also said, if you want to become mainstream about it, we'll make sure that your daughter becomes the first female billionaire, which is, of course, is Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not Caitlyn Jenner, Kylie Jenner. And notice Kim Kardashian is not a billionaire. Notice all the Kardashian girls are not billionaires. Who is the billionaire? Of course, Kylie Jenner. So again, it was a two-phase plan. Number one, get Bruce out of jail, make him become Caitlyn. The second part of the plan was, hey, we're going to make you worldwide famous. And the elite always follow their promises. So I want to make this clear. They might make you do something like Kanye sacrificed his mother, he claims, or his mother was sacrificed, but they always fulfill their promises. So they do believe in honoring their word, and that is a very big deal. But great point, AL, and I apologize if I interrupted anyone.
No. In fact, you go there, but again, you're always so knowledgeable and well versed and well spoken on that. I'm glad you brought that point. Here, you can't get me, and I want to address what Jesse was saying as far as Mexico goes. So part of my upbringing was in Mexico. Youngster, I have a lot of family there, and Jesse, back then, any guy that would have been considered a beta, what is now today, they would have been smacked on the head and said, "No seas joto pendejo, sea hombre." In the end, if there wouldn't be no
Anda,
discussion
cabrón.
or anything, you'd get smacked on the head immediately. That's end of story. And still kind of today.
Hablas como yo. Hablas como yo.
Hell yeah. Yeah, great
Soy más
points.
mexicano que el mole.
Yo también, cabrón, yo también. Oye, te di un follow. Soy hermano también, soy brother.
Ándale pues, carnal, ahorita te mando un follow.
Aquí
Gracias.
sigue
Un saludarte.
el Grand Commander, que es masón grado 33. De hecho, ahorita va a hablar de algo.
Sale, gracias. Well, sorry, don't mean to be rude for those of you who don't speak Spanish, but it was just a
Yeah,
nice
we were just
salutation
talking.
between brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Grand Commander, the man, the myth, the legend. Go ahead. We want to talk about the Masonic School inside of the 33 Club. I know that you will be giving class. Can you talk to us a little bit more also about the Vegas event, please? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for the mic. Hello to all my brothers and sisters and all the listeners. It's a
Well, that
pleasure
was
and
rude as
honor
fuck. Y'all have a good day.
to everybody. So, well, it has been a great space. I haven't since the beginning. I wanna.
I can't hear anybody.
Hello.
Oh, you can hear Grand Commander Peyton?
No.
Oh. All right. Look,
No, I just hear you.
you can drop, and I will get you back in. All right. Grand Commander, go ahead.
Yes, everybody's listening.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Well, it has been a great space. I'm. There's a lot of well, before we continue what you asked me for, um, there's a lot of I'm an old school guy. I was raised by my father. It's about to turn 91 years old, so you can imagine that I was raised as a gentleman. And back in my days, I agree with my fellow brother that just spoke before me. We didn't have those stuff in our times about beta and everything. So we were just man, go to school and be a good son, be a good neighbor, be a good citizen. And look, we are having now the Masonic School inside the 33 Club. It's now an institute. So we're gathering. We're gonna tell the people which day it's gonna be the best day for them to attend that school. So I want to do that because I have heard that maybe some of them cannot go on Mondays, some of them can go on Tuesdays, some of them can come on Wednesday. So we have to talk to the school and see which day it's gonna be more suitable for them. So and yes, that's it. We're gathering a university type of school, so it's gonna be real interesting.
Um,
That's on the part for the institute. And on the other part, for the Vegas event, we're gonna have our summer solstice in Vegas with the Grand Lodge, Hispanic Grand Lodge of Las Vegas, June 21st and 22nd. So it's gonna be open lodge. That means that everybody can attend to it. So it's gonna be fun.
do y'all mind if I chime in and just ask a question, kind of reverting back to what y'all were talking about when I first chimed into the space?
Yeah, brother. Just give me 1 second, and you can ask a question after. Grand Commander, thank you for your words, man. Thank you for your words. Dale and BK, you are more than invited to the Vegas event. Just let Grand Commander know if you guys are assisting or not. We already have a list. We are expecting at least like 10 people. So Dale and BK, you can definitely, and also all one star, you can come to the event as well. Just we can talk about this in DMs later. Grand Commander, thank you so much, brother, for your time and from everything that you are building inside of the 33 club. There's a lot of people that are still not a part of it, but I always say join Beacon, join GG33 Academy, and join the 33 club, and join the Thrine as well. Um, I'm really, really happy to be a part of all four institutes, and honestly, it changed my life for the better. So, Grand Commander, thank you so much for your words. Like I said, we will have the Masonic School. Like Grand Commander said, we will have the Masonic School inside of the 33 Club, and you guys get to decide which day is more suitable for you guys. Grand Commander is a 33rd degree Freemason from the Scottish Rite. He's a very wise man. He's a man that I admire, a man that he's one of my mentors. I got three mentors. I got Grand Commander, another doctor in psychology, and Gary. So Grand Commander was my first mentor and the person that I highly admire with everything that he's been doing for us inside of the 33 Club. With that being said, if you guys are interested in joining, let me know or let Grand Commander know. But yeah, VK and Dale, you're more than welcome. Grand Commander, can you tell me something a little about them being involved inside of the event? Like you will give them something special or something you mentioned?
No, no, no. Well, it is a custom for the Freemasons, for example, with my brother Dale or BK or the other brother. We would like to gather if they're gonna attend the name of their worshipful master and their lodge because we're gonna give like a recognition to extend our fraternity from our lodges to their lodges. They know what I mean.
Yeah.
So BK, I sent you a DM over Twitter or X. You have not seen it, but it's there. It's invitation and everything. So if
Okay.
if you
Thank you.
no, welcome. And if you can please share it with Dale and every Freemason that you know, we're expecting you guys. So we need that info. If you can provide it, if first of all, if you're gonna go, but besides that,
Okay.
you can forward us the information and we can do the paperwork to extend fraternal knowledge there with lodges.
And that
I really
that was a June 22nd weekend, right, Grand Commander?
21, yeah, Friday and Saturday. So there's gonna be closed lodge for Masons, but solstice it's gonna be open to the public. I don't know how do you call it in English. We call it Tenida Blanca. That's an open lodge.
Yep, open lodge. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Grand Commander. Grand Commander is one of the trailblazers of Freemasonry today. Freemasonry is at a huge turning point when it comes down to the world. We have, the VR, virtual reality. We have the internet taking over, and I just wanted to thank him and Dr. Marvel for being trailblazers on bridging the gap between the change of the times. So that's awesome. I also will be teaching classes in the 33 Club. So you will you guys will be getting my full effort for that. And I want people to join if they're interested, as well as Beacon, etc. But thank you guys. I'm honored. I'm right now trying to figure out about attending. I may be able to. There's a couple things I got to double check, but I would really, really like to be there. Vegas is actually my favorite city in America, other than maybe Miami. So I appreciate you guys, and I don't want to ramble on too much.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate your words. We can talk about this over DMs, but I noticed one thing. Saspy has had his hand or her hand up for I think 30 minutes. So please go ahead.
Pretty sure it's about to fall
Hey,
off.
nah, you guys are good. I appreciate it. Letting me speak. I just had one question. What is your guys' take on the difference between free will and like destiny and fate? Like, what is like the main difference between those two?
VK, you want to take this one? And after that, Red Pill, I have a question for you.
Can you repeat that? What was the difference between, say that again, free will and fate? Is that what your question was?
Yeah, like what's your take on free will and fate or destiny?
Yeah. So God gave you free will, number one. But number two, we all have a fate and what I refer to as a destiny. So here's how this works. Let's say your destiny is to be president of the United States of America at some point in your life. That is your destiny, right? Well, in one timeline, you make a choice. You make this choice. You can make a left on Smith Road, and you do this, and you do that, and you do this. You decide to get married, you get divorced, blah 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 blah. In one timeline, you'll be the 45th president of the United States. In another timeline, you'll be the 47th or the 48th president of the United States. So basically, your destiny will be to be president, but how you get there is completely up to you. So imagine two dots, linear, two dots across from each other. And you'll eventually wind up at the other dot, but how you get there is up to you. So, yes, we have a destiny. Yes, we have a fate that is probably semi unavoidable. But the route and the journey to how you get there, shout out Elon Musk, life is all about the journey, is completely up to you. Also, the destiny of how it goes is undetermined. So you might become the president as the 45th president and you're kind of a screw up. And then in another timeline, you become the 47th president, but you're a really good president. So that is also how that works. I hope that answered your question, and great question.
Yes, it did. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Saspy, for having patience, because like that woman Angela just started to complain and shit like that. But thank you so much, Saspy. I'm gonna give you that follow back. By the way, guys, follow Grand Commander. Remember, when Grand Commander reaches 666 followers, he's gonna give a full membership inside of the 33 Club. Red Pill. The question that I have for you is, what can we expect while joining the calls inside of Beacon?
calls inside a Beacon in the Discord.
Yeah, like you know that you've been posting that over a Telegram and whatnot. So
Yeah. Our private calls.
yeah,
Pretty much just a room full of people that are all excited, and it's nonstop. Honestly, the energy in there is these boys are all like changing their lives, so they just talk about it. Whether it's hitting new PRs in working out or hitting a new check, closing a deal, pretty much anything that goes on every day. We do a lot of cool stuff in the mornings where we pretty much ask everyone in the Trine chats, like, what are you doing today? What's your to-do list? What's your goals that you're setting out? How much money are you trying to make today? Etc. Etc. And we all stay active, chime in, tell each other what we did, what we do, and we up one. We one up each other, which is like fun because it's a competition. Somebody will send a video doing 50 push-ups straight. The next person does 60. The next person does 70. We have Isaac that could do 100 straight. We have Izan that could do 130 straight. So it's a lot of competition in there, and it's fun because once you join it, you kind of want to prove yourself. You know what I'm saying? In all aspects, not just working out, but in all aspects of being a man. And it's pretty much the most active chats that I've ever been in. To be honest with you, everyone's kind of cracked out on adrenaline, and honestly, it's just it's crazy. You got to tune. I mean, you were in there. You were in there the other day. You saw that we had to stop, get a smoke break, and go on to do a part two. So that was a legendary call.
that was a legendary call. Not gonna lie, but I mean, I cannot. I'm biased, right? But there's obviously a lot of people from my community who want to join your community as well. So I mean, they're listening. So I mean, I hope this hype them up or give them FOMO about Beacon, because trust me, I love your community. I really do. Grand
I
Commander,
appreciate that.
yeah, bro. Grand Commander just joined as well, Beacon. So I know that he told me the other day. He called me. He said, "I really like the
He's in
server."
there.
Yeah, he told me, you know what? It's way less info than yours, and I enjoy it more. And I was like,
Exactly.
I was like, I mean, look, the 33 Club is basically a university, but Grand Commander is a man who likes simplicity. Um, you know what I mean? So I mean, either way, I really like your community. I look, and also the Shrine. I know the Grand Commander is not in our Shrine, but I don't know if you guys will ever make a Shrine for dogs or not. But I mean, Grand Commander is a dog, and he would be awesome inside of the Shrine. Trust me, he would. PK.
Yeah, bro, get him in the dog Shrine. He's got his people waiting on him.
Yeah, bro. Trust me, Grand Commander is a valuable person. We're gonna be hosting a space with him soon inside of the server. So if you're not inside of the 33 Club, it's just. By the way, what's the current price of Beacon? 53 still?
Yeah, it's 53. You get into the Discord. We have a couple of courses in there. And it's 53 a month, pretty much, to just tap into our network.
All right. So 53 to join Beacon, 62 to join the 33 Club, and VK. What's the price to join the Shrine?
Well, yeah, the price is it's a $280 membership for life. So that is a lifetime membership to events. We already hosted our major Tron events this year, and we're going to have other events. We are actually doing a rebrand with GG33. So GG33 and the Trine are actually going to come together as one, and we are going to go to work together because it was a separate entity. But me and Dale went to Miami and cut the deal, and we want to join forces because we're stronger together. So the reason why we haven't been as active in the Trine lately, or this or that, we had our January, February event, is because of the rebrand with GG33, where we're going to be able to give a lot more, knowledge and have a lot better people in here as we combine forces. So it's actually going to be a really good thing. We wanted to cut this deal for a long time. We just had to build it first and show Gary, hey, look what we've built. And Gary is absolutely on board. I'm so excited.
Yeah, but we're still in charge of the parties. So
Of course, because that's the one thing our Trine does the best. The cat, the pig, and the goat Trine know how to party. Frank Sinatra
We're the best tribe, not gonna lie. We're the best tribe. I'm biased, right? But for me, we are the best tribe. Now, Red Pill would say no, would say that his tribe is the best.
Excuse me,
I don't
sir.
know, man. It's the dragon here,
You
man.
guys
The
are
rat and the
proceeding
moon.
above the speed limit. I would like to just make a quick
You're a
statement.
very cool
The
guy.
Dogtron is the Godtron.
Especially TK, I fuck with you and all, but just know again, ox, rooster, and snake. That's it. That's all that matters. Everybody else is just watching the show.
Yo,
All right, cool.
I
don't want to
I'm
have
a
to do it
goat.
again.
I'm biased.
In the Dogtron, the Godtron, we have Mike Tyson, Jimi Hendrix,
Again,
Michael
man, listen,
Jackson,
I understand.
Donald
You both
Trump,
are five,
Kobe
right? So we got that
Bryant.
5 connection. But
Do I have to
remember, it's always
continue?
ox first.
Taken.
Michael
I
Jordan.
legit agree. I legit agree that the Dogtron is second best, but they're up there.
Yo, come on. We got Kobe and Mike Tyson,
Yeah,
let
we got
alone. Are you
Jordan
kidding?
and Tiger
Michael
Woods
Jackson?
and Babe Ruth. Come on, bro. It's not even close.
Even Messi. We have Messi, Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer to ever live, the greatest soccer player to ever live, the greatest basketball player, baseball player. But again, I don't want to let's not make this about this. We'll do another
Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Come on.
Wait, I'm about to cut down right now. Listen, real fast. The richest man in the world right now, as we speak, is the ox. There we go.
It's not. Musk is back to being the richest man. That's
oh my God. Hey, yo, Musk, chill, bro. Can I just enjoy something for just like a little
The
bit?
richest man in the world is Putin. What's Putin? He's the richest man.
I know.
In the
We're
world.
just talking about puppet. Hey, listen.
Guys,
Billy's the
I don't
richest
hear.
man in the world.
I don't hear so well. The space. Is that cutting off a little bit? But Cooper, go ahead.
Background.
Definitely cutting off.
Yeah, it's cutting off. But Cooper, go ahead. I see that you have your hand up. I don't hear Cooper. You got you.
This was one of the worst connections we've ever had.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely
Okay.
a space to remember, huh?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, bro.
All right. So I just I figured this was the perfect space to ask this because I hear everyone in GG33 talk about alpha and beta, but why does nobody talk about the sigma?
Looking up with the what?
Like the sigma male.
Because people it's tough enough for most people to understand 1 and 2. And when you start introducing other variables, they still don't even have the basics down. So first they got to understand what, essentially binary code, what makes it up, alpha and beta, and then once they have a better understanding, you can get into it. But quite honestly, most of the audience isn't really ready for it.
Okay, so it's kind of like be on the level type, but it takes a special level of thinking.
We got a lot of background.
I think it's red pill, maybe.
Yeah, red pill. You on the beach, bro?
Nah, brothers, I'm in the car, but I'm gonna mute myself.
On the water right
You know that I yeah. Don't worry about it, brother. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's weird. It picks up everything.
It pick up like you got a really nice phone, man. Because I heard that. Like I heard the wind, but go ahead, brother. Cooper, go ahead.
That's I mean I have more questions, but to stay on the topic of discussion, like I said, it is I never really heard, not even Gary, I don't hear him talk about the sigma male, but it does make sense when you say more variables, and that just confuses people. I'm but I guess what I'm really trying to get at is, wouldn't every male want to strive to be the sigma, the one that did it, like Gary says, did it their way, his way?
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah. But also, I mean, just using labels in general, that's more of a feminine trait. It's more of a beta trait. So when you're alpha, sigma, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like people know it. You walk in the room, They understand. You do your thing, and there isn't a word for it. You just know. And then we just try
So
to label everything, you know.
got you. That makes a lot of sense.
Well,
So
there's frequencies that it goes from like beta to alpha and then theta to gamma, I believe. And there's different variables of how the frequency is interpreted. So the alpha is actually, if we're going to talk about the real definition of it, is one of the most insecure. That's what makes the alpha is because they don't want to lose what they have security of. So in order to be alpha, you just you got to be like, all right, you got to be vigilant. You got to watch everything and who's around you and know what's going on. But in a basic form between the confident man and a insecure man, then yeah, we would give the term beta to the insecure and the confidence to the alpha. If we're gonna just go off of the typical general names.
Yeah, I mean, look at nature, right? The old silverback gorilla. So you have a silverback gorilla who's the alpha of the tribe. That silverback gorilla starts to get older and older and older, and he starts to look around, and he has to stay vigilant because as those other gorillas watch the silverback gorilla, they go, "Oh, we might, you know what? He's getting old. We're gonna check his ass." So if you're an alpha or leader or a president or a king, you constantly have to stay vigilant. It is the beta that doesn't give a damn about winning or losing. So again, the insecurity of the alpha is real because if you're a leader, you always have people gunning for your position.
and that makes a lot of sense as well. And so that kind of leads me into this. Do or does anyone think that you can successfully turn a beta to an alpha?
Yeah, we had this conversation. Red Pill hit it on the money. I think I heard what you had to say about it as well, but not to go too far
It's
into.
like free will, man. You're born with it or you're not.
Yep.
It's kind of like Freemasonry. We can only take good men and make them better. We can't take a bad man and make him a good man. I think it's the same dynamic. You're born with free will. You're born an alpha male or you're born a beta. That's it. Survival of the fittest.
So let me give you an example. Let's say in the movie The Joker, when he's on the bus and he's getting teased and he's taking care of his mom, we can all agree that his speech impediment and his mental illnesses led him into a state of beta. But he took so much to where he's like, you know what, I'm gonna start taking control of shit. And in certain regards, we can't say that just because you have a gun or the way that you use your mind doesn't mean that you're necessarily a quote unquote alpha because you don't have the physique. But there's different types of being alpha, like Malcolm X, for example. He was super formidable with his mind. He didn't have the big muscles and whatnot, but the way he spoke with his mind, he was able to really line things up steps ahead of his enemies. And then we have someone more so like Mike Tyson, where he's the physical expression of being an alpha. Dominant size doesn't matter. He's looking at you like, look, I'm the big dog and you're the little dog, and or the big horse. He's a horse. So he's he's going after his targets with relentlessly, and yeah, some people are pushed to those limits, man. Some people are pushed to those limits. You got people like Tom Brady that are just very cognizant of themselves and have a sound mind, and they can produce time after time and give the same results. But then there's people that are really gunning for the position, just like how VK gave the example of wanting to take out the silverback gorilla. And in the movie The Planet of the Apes, Caesar was tried several times, and he had to diminish the person that thought he was alpha. So at that point in time, it's like, yo, there are people that are gunning for the beta does exist, because if alpha exists, then the law of opposites says that beta exists. The law
True.
of polarity says that it does exist. And it's not a good state to operate in. There's got to be we as people can literally evolve and create a new term. Like everything in this existence is evolving. Just because Nikola Tesla was able to crack 369 back then doesn't mean that VK isn't the next Tesla or surpassed Tesla. Like we gotta be an original thinker. Common sense isn't as common as it used to be. There's certain things that have definitions for a reason because that's how
So
you define that specific situation, object, or behavior. And now we
so
trying. Go ahead, Cooper.
well, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry about that.
It's
But
all good, no problem.
on that note, um, like you said, Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker. What do you call a beta male that's had enough and cracked and starts becoming that alpha? Is it just it's just them changing? Not no pun intended because he's a
So
five
I'll
like
post
that.
the I'll
But
post the picture in the purple pill. Alpha is literally a frequency. That's where the term alpha is derived from. And to operate at that frequency of alpha means that you do have to look over your shoulder every time, like every day. You're the top dog. You're amongst people. And until you get to like a Mahatma Gandhi type of level to where it's like, yo, you have so much control, but you're not out here flexing it. That's more so like gamma and theta. You like there's levels to it, and we
so
gotta
could
learn the
you?
definitions.
That's exactly what I was about to ask. Could you elaborate on a gamma and theta? Or I mean, I know what a alpha and beta, sigma, but what would be theta and
So theta is like being secure, having spiritual awareness, and knowing like, all right, I can get the job done. And then gamma is like when you're spiritually top dog, spiritually, like you just can't be tested. And we can look at Gandhi. He's really a great example. Who else?
I mean,
Maybe
would
even
you say
JFK.
Gary would be a gamma?
Yeah, Gary is definitely Gary has achieved many things in his life too, but keep in mind, social media is a part of business these days. So if you have any understanding of how marketing works, you'll start to be able to see why certain things are being done. And you know, you can make your opinions about anyone these days. It's not hard. Everyone has an opinion. But
Right.
let's be real. No one is going to be listening to Gary if he says with a whiteboard and the camera, all right, well, this is the number one. If you listen to number one at this frequency, then you'll be able to get an understanding of number two. And number three is the number of communication. And I think it's important for you. No, it doesn't work like that, dog. Like, we're humans. You got to spice it up, especially when the enemy is working overtime trying to destroy your dopamine levels. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder for y'all to listen for more than 2 minutes. Like so. It's getting crazy. You gotta
I
you
mean,
gotta.
I just turned 31, so I am, an adult, but I coming from that the era of growing up with the cell phones and smartphones and stuff, I totally understand the attention span thing because I've actually seen it bleed into my friends' adult, even my adult life, everybody's adult life. You know what I mean? Like, and then that goes back to kind of what you were saying. I think about like, okay, like you said, an alpha always needs to watch their back, but when you're in your prison cell with your cell phone, who's watching your back? When you're not taking a
Right.
selfie.
Right. I mean, and I gotta tell everyone this. The world changed, right? Social media is a little bit feminine. So you gotta be able to spice it up a little bit to be charismatic in this era. Unfortunately, selfies, taking pictures, all this stuff is feminine oriented. Let's make no mistake about it. Instagram gave the feminine
Yeah.
energy a load of power. So
That
play
goes
that
back
game.
to Kim Kardashian, right? I mean, she made the selfie famous, right? So
Well, right.
it's she wasn't the first billionaire, but she did make the selfie famous,
Right.
and which
Look at Musk. Look at Elon Musk. He's the richest man in the world, one of the most powerful men in the world. Why? Because he owns X. So he owns one of the three biggest news channels on earth. But even he has to spice it up and be entertaining and He told all the advertisers that left him, go F yourself. So if you're not
Right.
entertaining, if charisma, you're going to struggle in this era. And it's not because of AI. AI is going to replace, you can make a post right now off Grok. Grok is Twitter's AI, X's AI. So you're going to have a personality in the future that is going to be able to stand out because all the knowledge is going to be there. The numerologists are going to be replaced by AI one day. So it's going to be how you present your argument. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Facts. And we can look at the
Facts.
Chinese Chinese metaphysics from 2024 to 2044. The element is fire, and it's targeting middle-aged women, and the theme is self-promotion. So you better get good at talking. That's the real meat and potatoes of it. Is you are the promotion of your business and your idea. So what Doctor is doing, Peyton BK 1933, getting good, speaking amongst people. That's the theme of it. So really quick, I posted the picture of the beta, alpha, theta, and I was mistaken. It's not gamma. I know gamma might be one of the frequencies, but it's delta. That's the fourth one.
Okay, I'm actually glad you mentioned those because I've really never heard. Kind of goes back to why I raised my hand. You really don't hear about the sigma much. So I didn't even know that there was many. I knew there was more out there, but how many forms of men? How many categories would you put them in? But like y'all were saying, it's all about what frequency you're vibing at, I suppose, right?
Can I say something? Cooper, you mentioned something earlier about the Joker going from kind of a beta to, you said, kind of changing or cracking and becoming an alpha. I don't think that's exactly what happened to the Joker. I think that's more or less the manifestation of that beta coming into reality, right? All those insecurities and putting him to the point of causing harm to others. So.
That makes a lot of sense. Of course, I haven't seen the second one, but if you watch the trailer, they're dancing in this very elegant place. Him and Lady Gaga, Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, Joker, Harley Quinn, respectively. But then in the commercial, you actually see they're dancing in the middle of New York or Gotham streets, holding up traffic. There's trash everywhere. So it's kind of funny that you say that because they were in their heads, they were elegantly dressed, all made up and dancing, but that wasn't really the frequency they were vibing at, but they thought they were, I guess.
Well, look at what they're dressed in. They're dressed in all these bright colors, red hair, green hair. They're kind of like the liberals out there, looking like clowns. So that's what that is. But just to introduce myself quickly here, I hop on and I listen all the time. I'm Strum. I've been in this network for a bit. I started by pushing out like data and statistics on numerology and astrology, just random patterns. Like I'd literally look up any article I could think of that would try to line up with some numerology, and somehow there would always be something lining up. And it probably looked like, I'm cherry picking these studies, but it was really blowing my own mind, which kind of got me into the subject deeper and learning under Roger, Ringmaster, no longer Wingmaster, but wiser path online here. But yeah, no, I love what you all are sharing. I'm definitely going to be tapping in more, and I'm also working on the app for the public GG33 app, you could say, but it's really a separate entity that we've been working on for years now. It's called Q, which I hope everyone's fucking excited for, because this shit it's truly bringing another platform for this knowledge to kind of try to congregate and accumulate on, and it's going to be a very, very like community thing. Like it's going to be gamified. There's going to be ways for everyone to jump in and contribute, and it's going to be a great platform. So I hope everyone's excited for that.
I have a two-part question to your what you just said, Strom, if I might chime in. So in the Joker, I just wanted to point out that Joaquin Phoenix is a 5 life path, right? So that's changed. What did he do? He changed. And I did like your point about the liberals and the way that they're dressed like clowns and stuff. And then second, I wanted to say, can I DM you about Q and Beacon or
Yeah. Send me any questions
just
on Q. And we're
uh,
closed for public memberships, but there's a free calculator on there if you're ever looking to just calculate someone's birthday accurately. You can use that calculator.
uh,
Other than that, yeah, we're gonna launch towards the end of the month. The date is kind of TBD still, but yeah, towards the end of May, it will be live on the app stores.
I
And
wanted
I
to
just
get some information on that, so I can DM you anytime about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted everyone to encourage to follow Strum Astro Numero. Make sure you follow him. He's one of the highest intelligent statistical guys in all of numerology, esoteric knowledge. He does a great job. And I just wanted to add this. You know, in the 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, there was a 1 on the front of every single year. Since the year 2000 hit, there's been a 2 on the front of every single year. 2 is the number of feminine energy. So notice since the 2000s hit, men have started acting more like women. Beta begins with the B. B is the second letter of the alphabet. So since 2000, there's always going to be a 2 on the front of every year. So again, it's not what you say anymore, it's how you say it. And that's unfortunate. But also, if you are an alpha, you can use to your advantage and use that with charisma. Again, you know, being able to speak to people and, with the ever-changing short attention span, it helps alphas because you can be bold. If you're bold now, you're going to do really well.
Can I tell a story? Do you guys want to hear a story? I was at a wedding. I'm not sure if anyone cares to hear about this, but I think it's applicable to the alpha and beta conversation. So let me know. I need opinions on this. This was absolutely insane, but hear me out. So it was a wedding, first wedding I've ever been to. Few friends that I haven't seen in a long time. Probably kids I haven't seen since high school, really. The others I've seen them quite a bit. We stayed at an Airbnb together. But we go to the wedding. It's a great time. And one of my friends who I haven't seen in a long time, we'll call him kind of the beta, right? He goes to another friend of mine who's actually beyond successful. He's gone on to a master's degree in data science over at Stanford, and he's getting a job at Google pretty soon. These guys, they were roommates back in college, and the one guy who's now a bartender, I'll call him Beta Bartender. He's been in Gainesville since, right, up in Florida doing bartending. But he goes up to that one kid, the kid from Stanford, and we're at the wedding, and he goes, "I know you stole my strainer. Give me my fucking strainer." And we're just like, we're not there yet, right? My friend comes up to us. He's like, "Yo, this guy just pulled up on us saying, pull up on me saying I just stole his strainer." And he starts making a whole show about this strainer. No one's really seen this strainer. Like when we were at the Airbnb earlier, he pulled out all his equipment and whatnot, but no one really saw a strainer. But he was adamant. He believed that this guy stole the strainer. I'm like, dude, you have not seen him in a few years. He's like, no, that's what a kleptomaniac does. I'm like, what, bro? Everyone, all my friends are trying to talk reason into him, but he's so set that this guy has stolen from him. Which he just, at the end of the night, I mean, he looked like a fool. He literally walked into a pothole outside of the venue, rolled his ankle, karma right there. But by the end of the night, like everyone kind of wanted him out of the house, and he was just being crazy, right? But I think this is like the manifestation of that beta, right? Where you're insecure about your own life. Like he was saying some other things about him always being a smarter person too, the kid from Stanford. But like, yeah, he just seemed to like, and he also has a lot of shit going on in his family right now. Like a single mother, sister, right? A sister, right? A young girl who has a kid now, no father. He comes from a broken family. His mother, like, he's not talking to his mother right now. He was adopted. So it kind of all goes back to what that other Mexican psychologist lady was saying about how that broken family unit can truly leave some bad marks. But yeah, I don't. The long story short, like I don't know if that was a manifestation of his insecurities or the kid. I know he did. I know the kid didn't steal the fucking strainer, but goddamn, that was just crazy story.
Yeah, and I will tell you this. Here's where these betas go wrong, is they think that they can complain like a female. Females naturally hate men who complain a lot. So if you have a bad day at work, or and I learned this the hard way, if you got problems on this or that, you do not want to complain to them about your problems. And basically, the only way that the modern beta gets attention is by complaining. But usually what it does is it turns the women off who are feminists or who are pro beta. So the women who defend betas or are like pro, women having power, more power than men, etc. They don't even like it themselves. They have to pretend like they're okay with this dude complaining at that wedding. So that's a really good story. So word to the wise, do not complain if you're a man, no matter how bad it gets.
Oh, no one cares. No one
Yeah,
cares.
being a Mason is important. Yeah, you got to have a brotherhood. So if Masons, you can go talk to your brothers, talk to other men, or just keep it to yourself. Elon Musk said, put it on my tombstone, never went to a therapist. When you go to a therapist as a man, when you complain to people, it makes your problems worse. I'm not a good example of this. When I was younger, I'd complain a lot secretly, but I always knew not to complain to women, generally speaking. So
I
it
want
is
to
what
add
it is, man.
to that really quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think some guys might feel like, oh, like I should be able to tell my partner anything. She cares about my life. She cares about me. She cares about my problems. And you definitely want to.
Don't do it.
You want to make your woman feel like that you trust her. But yes, there's definitely a difference between sharing certain bits and pieces of what's going on with you and then actually having like brothers or other men who can help you actually solve those problems, be outlets for you to talk to. And another reason why it's not really good to complain to women is because unconsciously you're stressing her out. So if you're supposed to be the leader of her life or of your guys' joint life and you're telling her about all these problems, unconsciously she's starting to feel like, can I trust this guy? Is he going to make the right decision? Is he weak? Are we going to be okay? And ultimately, as a leader, you don't want to really instill fear, even though it's not your intent, but it's still happening. You don't want to instill fear into the woman who's supposed to be leaning on you in all of these ways. So that's another reason why it's usually a no-go to share all of your complaints or your worries or problems with women.
Yeah, and Jay,
the one thing that they need is security. So when you're complaining about something, you're not doing
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You're instilling insecure thoughts in your woman. So yeah, keep that to yourself, keep that to your homie, and take care of it.
Yeah, and I will say great leaders have the ability to compartmentalize. John F. Kennedy can go from being president to playing with rubber duckies with his kids in the bathtub. You have to be able to compartmentalize your life. So you go from president mode to dad mode back to business mode. So compartmentalization is huge. Don't want to interrupt anybody. My bad, guys.
Plain and simple. Don't complain. I like that. VK, what would you say? Because you mentioned something about therapy, right? What would you say to your brother, right, who goes to therapy? He just does it because he thinks it's a unbiased opinion, right? Someone who doesn't know much about your life and is able to hear another perspective. Because I actually have a brother like that. Like, what would you say to him in that sense?
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to go ahead and I'm going to divert here, but I'm going to answer it. So Joe Rogan just had Chris DiStefano on his podcast, and he talks about, he's this famous comedian, Chris, and he goes to a therapist. And Joe Rogan basically said to him, if you've been talking to a therapist for more than a year, they're taking your money. So what I would say is if you want to do therapy, okay, great. But if they can't get you to not need them within 6 months to a year, you got to get rid of them. So that's the first thing. Number one, I would say, don't go to therapy. Come to me, come to other brothers, because here's how this works. Numerologists and astrologists are highly guilty of this outside of GG. So you, for example, if you go to an astrologist all the time and they never truly help you, and it's been a year and you're still going to them, all they're trying to do is take your money. So they try to they try to confuse you. They try to make something so simple, super complicated. And it's a never ending basic chase of the carrot, so to speak. So they dangle that carrot and they give you some knowledge, but they don't help you. So once again, therapists try to overcomplicate issues and look too deeply into something. And what that ultimately does is it creates a money grab. So what I would tell him is try to get rid of your therapist and ask him how long you've been going to this person. Because if it's been a year, they're not helping you. If it's been 6 months, helping you. And this is a very sympathetic answer. The cold cut answer is get rid of the therapist immediately and see how your life changes. If it gets worse, if your brother's life gets worse, then there's a failure with his friend group and brothers, etc.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, he's a one life path ox, so a lot of my teachings don't quite get through to him. But
I was gonna say he's not gonna listen anyway.
Yeah, he does not, and I'm the younger brother. I'm the younger one too, so not much luck there. But I'll keep trying. Appreciate it.
What's up, guys? You brought me as a speaker too. Thank you. I see a lot of young men with the fear of competition, right? They see a world with a lot of competition because women have this media perfection of a man that they should get, and so on and so on, or other men accomplishing stuff that they feel they cannot, right? The fear of competition. So how the question I think for your brother is, stop looking for, this is an example, right? I'm not saying your brother specifically. Stop looking external, right? There's something within, because the possibility to get there, to compete, you can view the competition as something healthy and not something toxic. So the surroundings matter, the people that can incentivize you. But if you don't have, most of the time you have to create your own father archetype to help you get there, right? So you got to develop something or higher than you, or a higher purpose. And it comes to the specifics of accepting that competition is natural. Even in your own body, you're always at war biologically, for example, right? And it's trying to make them know that it's okay if you fail, right? It's okay if you fail, if you don't get it at the first time. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do at 20 years old. You got a bunch of time to look for it. But begins in stopping and cutting, for example, bad habits, bad friends. Stop consuming stuff that really gives you skills. For example, a good way is to make a person learn a skill, for example piano, because he becomes useful on it, right? He sees, oh, I can use these variables like I want, I can replicate that song, and it builds confidence, and so on and so on.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Absolutely, brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So how to identify a beta male? That's the convo basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would say in one word, um, you know, everything's situational in such a feminized society, right? But generally speaking, with a sound mind and a logical course to bring about, complacency. You know what I mean? Basically, like if you look at 2020, you know, everybody just sidelined the whole thing, right? And as much as people see Trump as an alpha, he kind of got sidelined too, right? Wrong, right or wrong? No.
Great point.
He's pretty alpha. Like, as far as presidents go, he's probably the most alpha president we've had in a while. And he
That's a
got
leading question.
completely sidelined.
Yeah, but that's a leading question. But is that a leading question for another point, or are you just asking?
Well, what I'm trying to say is, like, a lot of times we make these measurements based on this feminist society we live in. Like, if we were going based off a lot of things that people, these common talking points, Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden would be alphas, and in no capacity in any way are they fucking alphas.
They're more like
not one
jokers.
person here could make an argument how these guys are alphas, but based on the metrics that many people have for these things,
But
these
that's
guys are
called,
alphas.
it's a fallacy. That's called bandwagon fallacy. Just
Yeah,
because
but this is
it's
what I'm
trending,
trying to say.
it's not
This is what
true,
I'm trying to
right?
say. Where like a feminist centric society is generally led by groupthink, right? And groupthink, and in no fucking way is alpha. And being at the head of the groupthink isn't necessarily alpha. You know what I mean? It's about complacency. If you're leading with complacency, you're not a fucking alpha, but you're still leading because people choose a complacent leader. It doesn't make that person an alpha. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Well,
if
yeah,
you're avoiding conflict that leads people into survival mode, you're not a fucking alpha. You led society to fail. You led people to failure.
yeah.
I would say Gary's an alpha because although in a lot of ways, this is my opinion. It's not necessarily because in most cases I find actual alphas, they don't call themselves alphas in no fucking
Yep.
regard. A guy who sits there calling himself an alpha, doing all this showboating and shit, is the most complacent motherfucker I've ever seen. And when shit hits the fan, okay, yeah, I'm gonna explain it this way. Our society is so far removed from any survival situation that people don't know what an alpha is.
Can
I've seen
Yeah.
women choose the most ridiculous dudes based on the most arbitrary shit. Like I
Birth
remember
control pills.
this one guy, he told this girl he was a singer. And the only thing he did, and she believed this, like he just spun this shit. And all he did was he came to my house one time and like he recorded a song. And honestly, we didn't even record a whole song. We didn't even finish it. It was really like it was more like he just did it to say he did it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like there was no. It's kind of like if you.
There is no meaning behind the purpose. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and what I'm trying to get at is like in all honesty, from what I've seen, the alpha that got away that a lot of these red pill guys talk about. A lot of times, man, I've been behind the scenes. Yo, these girls got finessed the fuck out. They got finessed. The guy was not an
Yep.
alpha. It was all just like, oh, they did it to get that status, but they never did it. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like,
Well,
you,
and this will be the era of the crafty alpha. So, for
it's not
example,
crafty. Like if
Donald
you're
Trump.
lying, if your accomplishments, if you pull back the curtain and all your accomplishments are just in title only with nothing behind it, you're not a fucking alpha. You know what I mean? You did it
Exactly.
for the push.
You brought up wait. You brought up a good point. You brought up a good point with Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, you see how quickly they got rid of him, right? How quickly they sideline his ass, right? So what you're going to have to do if you're an alpha is you have to have some sort of ability to have finesse. Notice Donald Trump 2.0 right now is a little bit different. He's a little bit more covert with it. Why? In the feminine era, it's all about political correctness. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Why do you think all these females worship JFK? By all standards, JFK was a man whore. He was an alpha. He had multiple women, etc. So I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a secret today. The pig is the politician. People born in the year of the pig. Ronald Reagan, Hillary Clinton, Marco Rubio, Andrew Jackson. The list goes on and on. And the pig is the 12th sign. It has 1 and 2 in it. So 12 has the 1, which is the male, and the 2, which is the female. So the reason why Ronald Reagan did so well is he had the ability to be an alpha and also come off with some sort of feminine softness when he joked. So Trump has realized he has to be a little bit more finessing with this. So you always have to go with the energy. That's why Gary uses charisma, he uses comedy, and he uses all those things intertwined to come off in an articulate way in the modern era. If you want to be like Trump, and try to win elections in this era, it's not going to happen. They will reject you just because of your honesty. So what Trump realized is he's got to be more covert. And that's also being an alpha. An alpha can't be stupid. An alpha's got to be very intelligent. So you look at all the former presidents, Bill Clinton, excuse me, Bill Clinton. You look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton did a very good job of this in the 90s. He had some alpha and he also had some finesse.
Bill Clinton is not an alpha by any stretch of the word.
I'm not saying he was an alpha, but what I'm saying is in the 90s, Bill Clinton won an election by a landslide. Why? Because he had some of the good old boy in him, and he also had some of the, you know, the 90s softness in him. It is what it is. I'm just talking politics. What is going to win elections in the modern era? Dan Bilzerian might make a run at president. I think it is what it is.
A better example that we
I look at it like, yo, what did Trump accomplish? Because Trump actually accomplished a hell of a lot more than, like, if you look at politically, right? He did a lot, but I mean, if you look at it outside of politically, if you look at it culturally, Trump accomplished fucking miles ahead of all his predecessors. Like,
no, I don't disagree.
So a lot of people, like, they'll look at it like he failed because people were against him. That's not that. I don't buy that.
Too much, though.
I don't buy
Donald
that because
that's a big
you gotta
problem.
realize how much programming that guy had to fucking face. Like, he literally ran into a fucking pile of shit and he literally fucking, like, cleaned out half of it. So the whole fact that people are looking at it like, oh, because he lost whatever 2020, you know, in a lot of ways, people don't understand the whole picture. And to be honest, like, yo, I'm not gonna say it because I'll be honest, I don't even think some people higher up really get what really popped off. So I'm not gonna just put it out there like that. But yo, truth be told, even when he got, you know, finesse with all the, you know, the rigged and all this bullshit, right? He managed to fucking put enough things in place to hold the fucking line.
Okay,
you know what I
great.
mean?
That's cool.
And
But
obviously
think
some
about who's a
other
better
people had to
candidate of
step
doing
up.
this. Look at Nicholas J. Fuentes, for example. He's very aware of when to tone it.
Nicholas
No,
J.
no,
Fuentes
no,
is
really
in
quick.
no fucking
I
way
only
an
say this
alpha.
because he's young, though. He's young. And he was born, I believe, maybe it was in 98 or in the 2000s, but he is pretty good at knowing when to play the
98.
Okay, yeah. So he's pretty good at knowing when to let someone have the power, but he'll say, "All right, you're gonna cut me off, or we're just gonna get cut off." It's disingenuous fake news. Like Nick, he controls a room really well, man. We can see this, and the last debate with Myron, Suleiman Ahmed, and
But he's complacent, yo. He's complacent. What is it? Like, I don't know him too well, but what the fuck has he done?
Okay.
Tell me what he's done.
Well, you know that's another conversation for another time. I understand that we have a
Just being in the spotlight doesn't make you an alpha. Like, anybody could be in the fucking spotlight, man. Anybody can prove that.
the kid
Anybody could
has
be in
at
the
least a
spotlight.
decade of work.
In fact, nowadays most women are in the spotlight. Does that make them alpha?
Yo, the kid has at least a
It's
decade of work to show.
like, this is why I say complacency. This is why I say complacency, because, yo, alpha's a leader, right? If motherfuckers are going nowhere, what the fuck is the point? That's not an alpha.
Sometimes you have to
What
stay
I was
still.
trying to bring up when VK was talking. What I was trying to bring up when VK was talking. He's saying you got to be covert. The thing about being covert is when you're really, really, really fucking covert, nobody fucking has a clue.
Yeah, you got to
So
be
if you're
both.
talking about being alpha and covert, like the SEALs move in, they fucking take someone out, you motherfuckers never hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So the whole idea that we're looking to the spotlight, is actually fucking
Yo, Bray, if we're
hilarious.
going by
Like
your
you're looking in
theory,
the spotlight
if
for
we're
the
gonna go by
alpha.
that
That's where
theory
the
of what you're
flies
talking about,
swarm.
you would
That's
lead a
where the
men.
death
You
trap
could lead a
is.
group of men to their demise. If we're gonna go with that theory, because you need to understand.
Yeah, and
Sometimes
that's
it's important for
exactly
you
what
to
I'm
lay
trying to
low.
say.
Sometimes it's
Exactly.
important for you to move. But if we're gonna go off of what you're saying, he's complacent, dog. You need to understand. It's my opposite year, my enemy year right now. Aren't I supposed to be, knowing when to do certain things as well? Like there's a time and place for everyone. There's a time and place.
I
And
don't. Yeah, for
excuse
sure.
me,
But I
but
mean,
there's a time
I
where
don't see the point.
you have to win elections. You have to win elections in the modern era. Unfortunately, the 19th Amendment is not going anywhere unless we go
He
to a household
technically did
vote.
win the
Excuse me,
election. He
unless you go to
technically
a
won.
household vote. So when it comes down to winning elections, you have to actually get that guy in power. Trump has listened and is actually listening very well, because the thing is it's about getting the election won. He was not a two-term president. He was a one-term president. Now, I'm not against Donald Trump at all. But what I'm saying is if you want 2 terms and you want to make real change, dude, he did 4 years, and what they've done is ripped up this country. If he would have listened to certain people in his circle, and got around the election fraud a little bit more covertly and smart, he would have actually probably done way more damage in 8 years. They have literally wrecked
Agree.
4 years, dude.
But the also what you got to understand is he actually did do some damage, but it was covert, and I can't speak on it because it's above a lot of fucking people's heads. But I agree with you. Um, not win the election is definitely like it's a setback in many ways, but at the same time, I got to be honest, when it comes to politics, nobody, like 98% of the like I respect your opinion, VK, but I mean 98% of the population has no idea of geopolitics, let alone uh national politics. Like motherfuckers just talk, like it's all show. It's like in Canada, right? If I was to turn on the TV right now, you know what I mean? They'd be talking about Justin Trudeau. They're not talking about anything political ever. They're always talking about his performance, his manner or whatever. He's just a well greased puppet. Like if you're a complacent person leading people to their graves, you are not a fucking alpha. You're not a fucking alpha. You're a fucking failure as a human being.
You know what Donald did good? Resin, I'll give you some credit here. You know what he did really well on this next, he's running right now. What he did really well is he stopped complaining so much, because women hate complaining. So when he was complaining about election fraud and stuff, there's nothing you could do. So if you can't change it, don't complain about it. Now he had to try to get it out there. He had to try to let people know it's a stolen election. I get it. I get that. But what he's done is reeled the complaining back and got more back to policy, which has been really good for him. So I think you make a lot of.
The thing is complaining is subjective, right? The thing is when people are so fucking far behind, you can somebody like, okay, complaining is like saying something like, okay, this is why I say complacency, because there's a difference between complaining and informing. You know what I mean? So
that's my
if
point.
you're just telling people, oh, there's no way, it's dark, we're never gonna get it, that's complacency. Now, if you're informing people of things they don't know about and you're leading them towards a direction and change, that's not complaining, that's teaching, that's informing. People cannot make changes without identifying problems, and identifying problems is not complaining. That's where people are fucked up. People are fucked up because they are complacent and they avoid problems. Identifying problems will never be complaining. Now, when it comes to like a man-woman dynamic, one time this is actually a funny thing when you guys talk about this to me. I was with this girl for quite a while, and every fucking night, she complained about her job, right? Every night, and to me, I'm just not gonna go to a fucking job that I complain about every night. But everyone's different. Ray. whatever. So I mean, one time I'm just like, yo, I kind of got sick of it, right, a little bit, and I'm like, I'm just gonna throw this shit back in her face. I want to see how she fucking reacts. So I just started because there's always something to complain about if you actually, it's something you want to do. So I just started doing it to just see, and yeah, for sure, it fucking completely pissed her off. But it was hilarious to see, that kind of reflection that somebody who's being complacent, right?
Toxic.
When you throw their complacency back in their face, how disgusted they are. It's pretty fucking hilarious. So I find that funny. But generally speaking, like me, if I have like like some stressful situation or something, it's good to vent about it. It's good to vent about it, right? Not to your woman, because you venting is somewhat complacency, but it's better to just like whatever, go somewhere, just yell, or go to batting cages, beat the fuck out of some balls, or hit a bag and punch the fuck out of it. Just let out some stress, because you know what, shit ain't gonna go the way you want it to go. That's just not how the world goes. The fucking further you push things, the further they push back. That's just fucking basic
It
physics.
seems like you're
Reza,
coming in a little bit
you know this.
tense, dog. You gotta join the 33
What,
Club. They can get you. They can get you right, man. Join the 33 Club.
What are you trying to say, dude?
I said you're coming in a bit tense. It seems like you were under the
No,
pressure.
no, no. See, people are cutting me off. They're getting all extra. They're getting all rambunctious.
Well, you've been
I'm
rambling.
fucking standing my ground. You're laying back. You're chilling. I see. I'm just not complacent. I got a direction. I got
That's
a
true,
place I'm
but we're
going with
men.
it. I
What are we
know
gonna
where I'm
do about
going
it?
with
You're
it.
gonna sit and
You're just
complain?
chilling back because you don't got a direction right now. You just kind of chilling. So I got a direction. I'm pushing it forward. That's what I'm doing. I'm not being complacent. I'm coming in. I'm showing you a different perspective you ain't heard. And if you don't understand it right now, that's cool, man. Maybe come back. Maybe you'll fucking figure it out. Whatever. But tense? No, I'm not tense. I'm speaking. I'm lying down.
It comes off like you're
Like maybe
complaining.
maybe my heart rate's a little squeezed because I had a cigar. You know what I mean? If you smoke, it's gonna bring the blood pressure up a bit. But blood pressure up a bit isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's
Yeah, this guy
intense.
yaps a
It's
lot, bro.
strong.
You
Yeah, you've
engage
been
It
with
tense.
people,
feels.
you
You've been
know. You
complaining, and
yap a lot,
you're being
my
disingenuous.
man. You yap a lot. You
Wait,
gotta
wait. See, this
engage
is
with people,
complaining. This is
motherfucker.
what complaining is, guys.
Bro,
That's complaining.
you're not saying anything new,
So
bro. What you
so
think? Well, who do you think you are,
AO
bro?
so
I
is
wanted
said
to
this
have his
everything.
hand
what
up for a
happens
Who you
while. What does
fucking
he want
alpha
to add?
fight? Like this up is this I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but is
All
this
star, go ahead.
happens when too many alphas stand the ground?
Facts.
No,
All
this
right.
is happens when motherfuckers start
No,
crying and complaining.
1933
No.
has been
I
trying to
mean,
speak
All
for
right.
the
Hold
last
on.
20
So,
minutes.
as
Now had his
if
hand
if
up.
there was ever an alpha in history, it was Queen Elizabeth. Well, not male, but she was a fucking alpha. And the
What
number
the
one
fuck?
thing she always
it's
said
true.
was never complain, never explain. That was her adage forever. Never complain, never explain. Now, having
Sounds
said
complacent.
so, having said that,
Explain some. That doesn't sound good to me at
well,
all.
well,
Queen
let me
Elizabeth
speak and
was
I'll
not.
explain. So, having said that, the point here is this, and going back to a point that VK made earlier, as far as AI replacing astrologers, numerologists. One of the things I saw last year at a Wall Street project, an economic summit in New York, was there were producers, directors, and even some actors in entertainment that are very concerned about AI because it won't be long before the first complete 100% AI movie or TV show comes out. And what that's doing is it's going to replace a lot of your influencers, people like Kim Kardashian, people with no talent whatsoever, that have a status, that have clout, that are influencers for no reason. There's far too many of them. All of that is going to go by the wayside here in the next few years anyway. So what you're seeing as far as what are beta males or what we would consider an alpha today is still yet to evolve. And in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to see that shift one more time. just like you did with MySpace. It doesn't exist. Facebook is all but on its way out. LinkedIn has its very specific niche, probably would never be replaced. But even now on X, we all have a platform. Those that are alpha, here we are. The thing is this, you now have in the next 10, 15 years, the necessity to overcome the abilities of AI. So to be a human in the next 10 years and be listened to is going to be that much more difficult, which is a good thing because it's going to force humans to really stand out once again with talent and with intelligence. And beta males, the ones we are talking about now, we won't hear from them anymore. We only see them now because they have a platform, they have LGBTQ, which is usually where you see the betas. But we won't see them in 10 years anymore. In order to compete with AI, us humans are going to really have to up our game. People like VK will be around because he's an extraordinary human, very intelligent. He's able to verbalize thought. But again, uh, people like influencers, they're done. They've only got so long to go. And look at AI now and what they're creating as far as you don't even know if a person is fake or not. Can you imagine the first
So
TV show that is all AI, written, directed, produced, everything by AI? It's probably going to be very fucking entertaining. And what does that mean for humans? And I know that they're very worried because I heard quite a few of them last year. They're very concerned about their position in entertainment. And not only that, look at Robert De Niro. I can't stand the motherfucker anymore now that he opens his mouth. He's ruined all of his movies for me. It pisses me off. But actors command a lot of money. They won't in 10 years. There's going to be far and few between that are going to be able to command the millions that they get now. Because can you imagine an AI Schwarzenegger that costs nothing? AI, what does it cost? Nothing. It's already programmed. You don't have to pay anything. So uh, we're lucky that all this beta male bullshit is cyclical and it, God willing, is on its way out because, as VK pointed out, since the year 2000, when that two there, I call it the pussification of America. And it has been rampant, it's been brutal. I've never seen anything like it, but God willing, we're on our way out. And that was the point I wanted to make is that if ever there was an alpha, it was Queen Elizabeth, uh, even a female. Never complain, never
I kind of
explain. When you
disagree with
go
that.
home, don't do
I got
that
to
with your
interrupt
woman.
you. You're right. In AL, you're one star. You're correct. Not to interrupt you or Resin, but I just want to say this: Queen Elizabeth in the World War II, I believe, was actually on the tanks. She was actually a
It was a
part of the
mechanic.
military. She was literally on the tanks in full battle. Andrew Tate said it. Whether you guys hate Andrew Tate or not, the Tate brothers talked about this with Queen Elizabeth. He is 100% correct. And by the way, when she died, the whole royal family, and I am technically related to these people, they all died very quickly. Her death. The family's not the same. That's a testament to her.
Oh yeah, she was
I
a
think people
mechanic
have
in World War
really
II.
fucking misconstrued feminine energy to the point that they're, now they're kind of like there's nothing wrong with being feminine. She was very feminine, but she had a very strong presence in a sense that like she commanded it, right? That doesn't necessarily make someone alpha. Like a woman can have that kind of they can have that type of presence, but that's not like presence isn't necessarily alpha. Like
Well, it's
you
leadership, though. It's
you could
leadership.
take a
Presence.
woman, she could walk into a room and she could change it, right? When you guys said an alpha could walk into the
I'll
room,
disagree with
an
you.
alpha could
I'm
walk
going to
into
step
the
on
room
you
and
here for
change
a
it
second.
too.
But if you saw Queen Elizabeth with Donald Trump, she was the alpha. Even with Donald Trump standing next to her, a foot fucking taller, she was always the alpha. So it's beyond presence, it's attitude, it is stature.
I
There's
didn't
a
see it
lot
that
more
way,
to
but
being
I
an
mean,
alpha,
maybe
and it
you
doesn't
see
mean
it
you have
that
to have
way.
a dick to be an alpha.
I mean, she
No,
knows
no,
that
no.
the
No,
royals have power.
I'm not trying to get on that tip. I'm just trying to say that a lot of people have misconstrued feminine energy. It's like a woman is a leader in the home, you know what I mean? She makes the place comfortable. She makes it livable. That's a strength. It doesn't mean you're an
You
alpha,
know what?
and
You
it's
know what
not a bad
feminine
thing.
energy is, Resin? It's 2, right? 2 is a feminine energy. 2 is the number of what? Peace. Women,
Yes,
true feminine energy is peace. When you come home, you should have peace.
exactly,
They should not be introducing
exactly.
chaos. They should not be leading anything. You should be at peace when you are with your
And that's
woman.
what she did, right? So how is that alpha? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, people got to recognize like proper feminine energy properly. Like, we have it so misconstrued that people are taking it somewhere way else. And what you just said, I completely 100% agree with.
So
Well,
on the
Queen El-
2000s and with the 2
Queen
being
Elizabeth,
oh
excuse me,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Queen Elizabeth created peace in that family. Princess Diana was giving the royal secrets away to the Saudis, and when they murdered Princess Diana, that had a lot to do with Queen Elizabeth. You're not going to go ahead and sleep around. Princess Diana was giving money to prostitutes. Okay, she was dabbling in degeneracy. I'm not a fan of Princess Diana. I never will be. And when she gave the royal secrets over to the Saudi family, they got rid of her extraordinarily quickly. They got rid of my family member, Grace Kelly, very, very quickly. Grace Kelly wanted the kids. She wanted to take the kids and go from Monaco back to America. Prince Rainier said, hell no. And the rest is history. Both of them died in car accidents. So when it comes down to leadership, she didn't have a king. She didn't have anyone to the right side of her. So she had to hold that family together through peace and sometimes strength. And now you see the current king. You see that they both got cancer. You got Middleton, who's got got cancer. So you
They're
see
falling apart without her.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So Queen Elizabeth is very misunderstood. But yeah, peace is power. Peace is leadership. Not to say that you disagree with that, Resin.
Yeah, no, but that it's still feminine energy is what I'm trying to like. People have misconstrued feminine energy to an extent where they devalued it. They've backdoored it to the point that like the dude was calling her alpha. Like she's not an alpha because she kept the peace. She's a strong feminine woman that was able to maintain the household and keep the world in a proper position. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but great.
women are leaders in their own ways, and men are leaders in their own way. That's why they complement each other. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but what imagine that?
I
Go
would
ahead.
say that I would say that putting people in body bags is pretty. Now I'm not saying that every woman needs to be like this, but it's pretty alpha to me. If you're putting people in body bags that go against the family, I think that there was a lack of alpha in the royal family, and she was that form filling in. I mean, there has been a few women like Margaret Thatcher. Gary will tell you this. Gary will literally get on here and tell you Margaret Thatcher ruled with an iron fist. So there is a few out there that can do that.
But great when we hear
one life path women in the world. Definitely, I'm never disagreed with that.
Yeah, but what he's saying is not totally a lie, right? But when you hear a lot of people misconstrued, like you're saying, the feminine energy, it's not about actually going into the individual. These spaces like Red Pill, for example, are spaces to push men to become better, and they try to tell young men, for example, some type of woman work like this. You gotta be a leader, you gotta work on yourself, right? You gotta raise your standards, you gotta chase your money, be fit, healthy, seek knowledge, develop skills, be valuable to the world, and so on. Find something higher than you. And when it's putting these terms, for example, alpha male, beta, so on, which I find kind of cringe. It's just to put in terms so people can visualize an image that they can seek to get. It's to make them easier to get. And if they want to develop their SQ, their spiritual quotation, they can go into other spaces like this, for example, right? GG, that goes broader into spirituality, right? That's the whole point of the Red Pill, to address things more rude, right?
Yes, and I will say Donald Trump made one major mistake as an alpha, You have to take out your foreign and domestic enemies. So if you want to be a leader, right, you want to be that silverback gorilla, you have to take out your domestic enemies. And that's what he's currently trying to do. So I'm not going against Trump. I'm just saying you have to take out foreign enemies and domestic. Gary will tell you this verbatim. So that was his biggest mistake via Gary, right? I know all you guys hate every word that he says. So just making a good point there. And I do agree with Gary.
I already agreed with you when you said it without any of that context. I said, yeah, he failed in that sense. But I also said that there's a bigger picture, and he put things in place that held the line in a lot of ways. You can't control certain things. Once you hand the keys over, certain shit's just gonna fucking fly off the thing. But everybody fucking knew that. That's why everybody supposedly was so ahead of it. You know, honestly, I think people were a little more fucking involved 2020 than they are this year. I see a lot of fucking complacency this year. I see a lot of
So what
fucking
are we gonna do
complacency
about it
this year.
then? But to be honest, I think Trump kind of.
Well, I mean, I think we need some fucking real voices
Well, you can
with
be
some
one of them
fucking
if you
ideas
have an
instead of
idea.
these fucking in front of the curtain
Yo,
bullshit
if you
motherfuckers.
have such great ideas, why don't you start something, brother? I don't want to complain about this shit for the next 30 minutes.
Well, you know what? I've identified the issues going on, why that's not happening, and people are
Well,
complacent,
what are you
yo.
gonna do
I
about it,
guess
dog?
in that
Like,
sense, I'm failing as a leader, but I also have a lot of other people that are working on a lot of other things. So I mean,
all right, so
it depends on how you look at it and where you're looking. If you're looking at the complacent motherfuckers, then I'm failing. If you're looking at the motherfuckers doing shit, well, shit's
yeah,
happening. So
that's
I don't
perfectly
know.
fine, but
It
I
depends
think
on how
it's
you're
not
looking at
fair
it.
to the rest of us if we're gonna choose to admit that frequency of complaining. And I'll just switch topics really quick, though. I think Trump, if anything, is operating from a theta frequency because he does come out pretty calm, happy within his personal life. I would assume you could tell a lot about posture, the way that he speaks and how he takes his breaths, and the things that he's achieved in his life. So you can. I advise everyone just look at the picture I posted in the purple pill. It goes beta, and it says fear, suffering, and what does it say? Fear, suffering from beta, alpha, cautiousness, anxious, nervousness, paranoia, worry. Hence, the Wolfpack Alpha has to kind of be the one to get maybe the least amount of sleep. Who knows? You got to look out for the pack. You got to always stay awake because if the pack gets harmed, then it does trickle down to the Alpha's decision. And Theta, which is good, calm, happiness, joy, and Delta, which is eternal peace. So when you're talking about Queen Elizabeth, it seems like she accessed the form of Delta if she does have eternal peace, and there's no competition.
Yes, and
Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to say
I'm not.
one mistake. Excuse me. One mistake that Donald made is that, for example, when Donald became president, he had a list. He gave a resume list for all of his supporters to be elected or to be in a position of power in the Trump administration. Out of the 1,500 people that put their resumes in, plus it was probably 5,000 to 10,000 people, not one single person got hired on that list. Donald Trump had made a very bad mistake about not backing the people fully that backed him. And that is something that has been looked at heavily within this political realm. So Donald was not helping the person that lost his
1,000%.
job. They were not helping.
1,000%.
He was not helping the person that lost their job and career for supporting him. He did not do a good job at supporting the people that supported him because he hired no one. He hired a bunch of
1,000,000,000%.
right away.
I am fucking in a billion degree percent with you on that. Like there's a lot of questions I could ask. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. Not gonna disagree with you in no fucking way with that.
Yeah, that's all.
I will say that America operates with a lot of fucking smoke and mirrors, though. That's
Yeah.
one thing I'll say. So you know what I mean? I'll give Blige because this isn't exactly like a straight fucking forward path. So I mean I'll give a little Blige there, but at the end of the day, what you're saying still fucking true. And you know what I mean? At the end of the day, what matters, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And you know what? I think that people will learn, like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis completely botched the campaign. Why? He did not have the alpha and beta alpha and basically feminine energy within him to get the job done. He went full beta. He listened to his advisors. He listened to the people around him and ran the worst campaign, possibly political history. And I love Ron DeSantis. I have a lot to say about him, but I don't think he wanted the job, number one. But number two, look at Ron DeSantis, look at Donald Trump. What you want to try to be is right in between them. But Donald's actually doing that right now. So Donald is realizing, hey, I got to make some adjustments here on how I do things. By the way, Donald Trump behind closed doors as a grandfather is one of the greatest grandfathers and fathers in political history. The guy is amazing and completely like a bro. He went golfing with the Full Send podcast, and he's like, gentlemen, I got an interview in an hour. And they call him, and he's like, he gets on the phone, he goes, you know what, the first question, fellas, I ask if I get a female interviewer, I go ask it. I ask, is she pretty? And they're like, Donald, she's pretty. He goes, let's do it. And he goes, fellas, I'll be back in an hour. We'll go have hot dogs and go chill. So the Donald in private needs to come out more in the public. So if anything,
for sure. Like this is kind of crazy. So I kind of think of Donald in the same way as Rob Ford. You guys ever heard of Rob Ford?
Yes, sir. Cocaine Rob.
So he was okay. So you have heard. So yeah, he was the mayor of Toronto, right? And like apparently, like everybody, like he was just like the best mayor ever for a lot of people. But in the media, just like Donald Trump, worst fucking human being to ever exist. So it comes out that this guy is on camera and he's smoking crack, right? And obviously they fucking run him through the ringer, all this Ray. I was thinking like, yo, if this guy's a crackhead and he's doing a better job than everyone else, like how fucking bad was everyone else? You know what I'm saying? Like if this guy is this much of a fuck up, like how is he like 1,000 times better than all of his predecessors? So anyways, I just wanted to pretext that so people kind of had like a context of him if you didn't know. So anyways, when he died, right? Everyone like I was listening to this radio show and just call after call for 3 hours straight was just people calling in about how this guy was like the most amazing dude in the world. So take in mind, this was after the media had spent like fucking years destroying him to the point he got cancer and fucking died within like a couple years, right? They just completely annihilated him in the press, nothing he could do. And when people were calling in, I like, for example, one call specifically, this lady, she's like, I live in Metro housing, which is like public housing, like I guess the projects or whatever you want to call it. I had a big hole in my wall, and friggin' water was pouring in, and Rob Ford would just have his number. You could call him, and she called him, and he came that night at 7 at night to the projects, or like Metro housing as we call it. So like he came at night and made sure everything was all right. You know what I mean? Like that's how. And when I think of that type of shit, I kind of think of Donald Trump. Like behind the scenes,
How do you
everybody is
believe?
talking about this guy. It's like he's like a fucking like a superhero with a cape. You know what I mean? He just swoops in, and in just the media's ability to fucking put that kind of fucking pressure on somebody and literally turn them into what people saw for that 4 years of his presidency. It's just fucking sick in the head when you really fucking get down to it. Like some of these motherfuckers have gone above and beyond, and it's crazy how fucking and that's why I say Donald Trump is an alpha, because at the end of the day, he's, you know what I mean, he's protecting people, you know what I mean? And I can agree with your points that where he faltered, Ray, but let's be honest, is anybody going at Joe Biden like that? Is anybody going at Obama like that? Was anybody going at George Bush like that? Was anybody going at Bill Clinton that? And that's why I say he's the most alpha president in a long time. That's the only reason I say it. Now, I mean, you can make some different things for Obama. There's definitely some behind the scenes plays, but you know, on paper, Obama looks like a piece of shit right now. So I mean, well, what are we gonna say, right?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you this. So like, when it comes down to, you know, alphas, this and that or whatever, whenever you're like Trump, whenever you're going full speed ahead, warp speed, as he likes to say, that's his favorite word, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. So I'm also extremely sympathetic to the mistakes that he made, because he was trucking. What alphas do is they keep it moving. You got a scandal, someone says something about you, like me, you got people in your DMs slandering you, women, this, that, you keep it moving. And that's the one thing that I really respect out of Donald Trump, is you got to go full speed ahead. And that's why people like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, other influencers, you might hate them or love them, but when you're on the come up, when you're gaining momentum, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But guess what? People who are go-getters make mistakes, but in the end, they're a lot more progressive as far as success goes than anyone else.
Hey, that you said that good. That might have to be new term in my vocabulary. Warp speed, man. I like that. So I know that Battlefield has had his hand up for a long time in Malik as well.
I
I'm
think
gonna
the
talk.
whole warp speed thing is
Yo, Greg, let him
completely
get his let him get his 2
like
cents in.
So I wanted off of what
that
One
whole
Star was
thing
saying about the AI replacement that's going to be coming. That's going to increase the bar.
was completely misconstrued, but
That's going to increase the bar of what it takes for someone to be an alpha. And what it's going to come down to is just who can make offspring and who can't make it happen. There's a lot of people that do not know how to impress a mate, like a lot of males that do not know. They are level 99 in RuneScape. They're max level in World of Warcraft, but they don't know how to translate that to establishing a family and having children and making sure that their children can go further. And there's so many Holly weirdos out there that all their kids are trans or borderline trans. So they're not gonna, they're sterile. It's a sterility cult, right? So that's what we got to wait them out pretty much.
cool. I gotta go do some things, man. It was nice talking with all of you. Thanks for sharing your opinions. Ray. I hope I didn't rub anybody the wrong way. Don't come attacking me after over it. Don't get personal. It's just a conversation. We're just shooting the shit. All right, guys. Have a great night.
I wanted to say this, you know,
Or
banter
come at
in
me.
this
I don't really give a
segment is really good for spaces. So never take in, you don't take anything personally, you're a 7, but people, when you're doing a space, I want that banter. I want that debate. As a co-host here, that is exactly what we're looking for.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm saying, excuse me, and this and that, it's all banter. This is not an act. I'm saying what I believe, but I'm also out here doing it.
We said that.
That's what I say. When it becomes a monologue, it's boring, right? And you can even make good points when it becomes a conversation, back and forth, and not saying even in just debate, in just a conversation. Oh, like this. Oh, like that. Yes, that's it. And you know, becomes more interesting, more engaging, different tones, like an harmony, and so on and so on.
VK, I had a quick question. Is there any way you'd be able to give me a reading?
I will not do that on this space because we will lose viewership and the commonality of the space will struggle. You could message me and I can try to help you from there, but off this space on my own time. And it's not personal to you, but I started doing the, you know, let's move the conversation quickly, but don't take it personal. This is about everyone in the space. And when we do that, it struggles. This is from radio shows I've done to this. So,
okay. Thank you.
I got a question for Peyton. The great, you know, I was enjoying the talk, if you know what I mean. I was just drinking my coffee, you know, enjoying the talk. Yeah, coming up next week, man. Gary hopefully is going to be here, and we can all have a great talk about the subject because I really enjoy it. Not gonna lie, man. Peyton, I have the question for you. How do you identify an alpha male?
Is my audio okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. There's a lot of things that can point to an alpha male, but first, I'm going to say the way he walks. Every person walks a different way. Everyone has their own unique movements, but in general, the way that a man walks is going to tell a lot about his self-confidence and moreover his ability to probably sway you, or just if you see him from afar walking towards you, you can have an immediate understanding, even if it's unconscious as a woman, as to if he's confident. And confidence very greatly translates to someone who is alpha or not. So is he walking tall? Is he upright? Does he have good posture? Things like that. And you don't even have to be an expert in body language to understand this. Eye contact, that would be next. Can he make eye contact, and can he hold it without breaking it? Is he looking into your eyes when he's talking to you, or is he looking down and away? Or if he's walking by you, does he look at you? Or if he's walking up to you from afar, is he looking at you, or is he looking down as he walks over to you? This is another very small, but in my eyes, great indicator of if he's an alpha or at least a leader in some kind of way. Handshake is going to be big too, and a guy might not always give a girl a handshake, but I think it's a really, really, this is actually something I got from my dad. He always taught me growing up, if a man has a weak handshake, he's not going to be able to take care of you. Which, I don't know how some of the other men would agree or not with that, but
Yeah, that's facts.
I've noticed it says a lot. Even when I meet a guy, and I'm not not in a romantic way, just as I do a lot of business deals with men. And if I meet someone and their handshake is weak as a man, I honestly trust him less. And immediately he's lost a bunch of brownie points, whether they were for interest or not, just someone that I'm working together with. I'm genuinely serious. If I shake a guy's hand and it's weak, or my handshake is more firm than him, because as a woman, I've worked on my handshake, I have a good handshake. Automatically, I probably don't trust him, and might not even work with him, to be completely honest. Go ahead, BK.
Yeah, no, I wanted to kind of give you a relay, and you can keep hitting your points because you're making like amazing points with the handshake. So Donald Trump has mastered the handshake. Joe Rogan admitted on his podcast. So Donald went to the recent UFC 300 event, and Joe Rogan was ready for Donald to come up to him. And what Donald will do is he'll shake your hand so hard and he'll pull you towards him. And when he pulls you towards him, it's an act of power. So he'll actually move you towards him, and basically it'll create a frame that he's the alpha dog in the room. Joe Rogan knew this going in, and he basically plotted himself right in the ground. And Donald, they have it on videotape, Donald's trying to drag him into him, bring him closer to him, and Joe Rogan refused to do that. So that'll be one thing. The next thing is with handshakes, because masonry is huge in handshakes, of course. Sometimes if a guy like Donald Trump doesn't respect you, if he really doesn't respect someone, the only time a guy will come with a weak handshake is if he doesn't respect you sometimes. So I have seen Donald do that as well. Like if he thinks you're just the scum of the earth, he'll barely shake your hand. But that's the only reason why a guy would go soft. But I completely agree, and keep going. You're making really good points.
Yeah, really quick. That was wild. I didn't know Donald Trump was out here hunting people like that. Like, he's taking bodies out like that. He's trying to expose them by the handshake, man. Thank you. If I shake his hand, I'm ready now. God damn it. I didn't think he was gonna be on that.
Oh my gosh, no. A guy needs to have his handshake on point. Find another guy to practice with or something. But another thing that will expose someone as alpha or maybe not is if in that handshake, here's another thing. So when you shake someone's hand, right, if your wrist is pointed up, your hand's going to be like flat up and down. If both of you are going in straight, then that's an equal exchange of energy, especially if both handshakes are firm. But if somebody turns their wrist inward, putting their hand on a little bit more on top, then that shows that that person is more in charge of the conversation or their interaction. So as a man, if you're going to go and shake a woman's hand, You want to shake it firmly, and it's not like, oh, I don't want to hurt her hand, so I'm going to shake it soft. No, there's different types of grips you can do, and you want it to be firm. You don't want to be soft for a woman ever.
I never handshake the woman. Most of the times they come to me and kiss in my mouth.
Hey, you crazy? Hey, but Peyton, you hit something.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
You hit
kidding.
something really important on the money, though, Peyton. It was like the eye contact. The eye contact speaks volumes. The eyes never lie. They never lie. So when a dude is approaching you, and he can keep the eye contact straight with you and give you seriousness, not like on some creepy ass shit, like not side eye, not on some side eyeing type shit, or he just like watching you from a distance, but a normal, healthy human being that can maintain eye contact. Because so you can look at Scorpio for example. I would say goats as well because it's the eighth sign. They have a correlation to the eight. They're mesmerizing. The eyes, they really are, and they can do a lot when speaking to the essence of what you're trying to promote. So.
Yeah, and she made a really good point about putting your hand over another person's hand in the handshake. That is who has the dynamic. Donald Trump's mastered that. So watch Trump, and that's all he literally studies that. So Peyton, really good point on the hand over, and this is very intertwined with Freemasonry. And who knows, Donald could be one. You never know.
So,
guys, sorry, Peyton. Can I say really quick? For example, this guy, Battlefield, he's a friend of mine, and he doesn't know numerology. Could you explain to him really quick the meaning of numerology into the pattern recognition and stuff like this really
we
quick
can
for him?
respond to that
'Cause
later,
he's
but we're on just a certain domino effect right now of questions and stuff. So I want to answer these for Dr. Marvel. But I'll keep that in the back of my mind, or one of you guys up here, keep that in your minds. With the handshake, so VK mentioned a point where you put your hand. So what I'm talking about is one arm, right? Let's say we're both right-handed. I'm going in with my right hand. My wrist is like, my thumb is up, my left or my right pinky is down, up and down. Even exchange, if both of you are reaching in to shake, that's normally how you do. But if I were to turn my wrist inward slightly, that means my hand's going to be on top. So that means I'm dominating the conversation and interaction. So we're not using the left hand at this point. It's just each of us using our right arm. Hopefully the man has a little bit of a turn on his handshake to let me know that he is dominating the conversation, okay? Now, there's an additional thing that a guy will do extra, especially if it's male on male, to really determine that he's boss, is that he'll put his left hand over the top of the right hand of that person. So essentially, that person's hand is sandwiched into his two hands. So that's how you truly know. And sometimes you've seen it in movies or on shows. He'll like pat it with his left hand. So if he's right-handed, he's shaking, and then he like slaps the back of his hand like 2 times, like, what's up, man? What's up, buddy? Something like that. That's how you really know. But to be honest, when I've noticed a guy doing that, because I know this game, right? Like, I know this psychology. I think he's trying way too hard at that point. So he's trying so hard to show me that he's alpha. He might not actually be alpha. So I know I hope this is not confusing you, but you just want to know in what context to be doing what thing. And you don't want to do these tactics so much and like so hard that you're trying to compensate for the fact that internally you know you're not alpha, because a handshake ultimately is not determining if you're an alpha in all aspects of your life, but it is a good thing, especially in an initial interaction, to show that, okay, you are in charge and you do want to dominate the conversation. VK, what do you want to add?
You know, no, you notice how she said you have to have a little bit of both. Like Donald will take both arms, like she said. You know, he'll shake with his right hand, pat with his left arm. But you notice she's a female, and she told all you fellas in here you have to do a little bit of both. Like if you go ahead with that extreme handshake with 2 hands, one hand on their forearm, the other hand shaking, it's going to look like you're trying too hard. For the females that actually know. I don't want to use that term female, but you got the masculine and the feminine. They know what you're doing if they're enlightened.
Yo, Peyton, you just put me on to some real game just now, because I swear to God, because at first I always would just shake firmly with just only men, Understand? So I'm knowing, okay, you a man, I'm a man, so like be more serious. But like women, I never thought about fucking shaking their hand with like a firm handshake. Majority of the time I'm getting hugs anyway, so I don't know if like that's like a cheat code or something. But yeah, now I know. I'm gonna make sure I tilt my right hand to the left on top. Do not put the other hand on top of her hand because I don't want to seem like I'm doing too much. Understand? So I'm gonna keep it cool
Mhm.
at the same time. Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, appreciate the game, Peyton.
You're welcome. No, this is huge. Trust me. If you've never done this and you start to practice, you will literally feel the aura change of the interaction, the vibe change, and you will feel more confident in that moment. And I want to make a quick note on what Taken said about eye contact. If a guy, this is more so for the women, but men take note too. If a guy can't look you in the eyes, how is he going to lead your life? How is he going to lead your family? How is he going to help you give birth to your children? Like he can't even look at you. Like you guys really need to think about this deeply. And if you're so afraid to look at a female, well, I think you need to practice looking in the mirror first.
That's
Bars,
big
Peyton.
facts. That's big
Bars.
facts. Hey,
That
19,
was facts. Yeah.
just to speak a little bit off of because personally I wasn't aware of the shaking a woman's hand super firmly, and it makes sense now that I'm hearing it because it depends on the setting in which you're meeting her. Are you doing business with her? Or are you trying to take her back so you can do some business? You dig what I'm saying? There's two different types. Like if you're doing business with her, yeah, I'm gonna shake her hand like a businesswoman. But if I'm trying to do some business, then yeah, I would think, as a gentleman, you got to be polite. You got to be, you're a gentle man. You got to be gentle with a woman because she's fragile and she's delicate. But it
That's
does make
That's why I was confused, bro. Because I
Bro,
was like, all my
that's
life,
when you
I just know
that's when you hug. That's when you hug. That's when you
exactly.
embrace
right.
her. Give them
There
the
we go,
Exactly.
Dale.
security. If that's
The
what
Here's
you're
the
setting is
going
thing,
for.
like
important.
if it doesn't matter if she is someone you're interested in or business, if the opportunity to do a handshake is there, you want to do it and you want it to be firm. Maybe it's a little softer on the romantic pursuit, but this also lets her know that, man, he's strong. Like in her mind, she's going to be thinking, oh, like he's serious. Oh, he's strong. Oh, that's like a girl will be turned on literally just by having a small um, bit of proof that you are strong just from a handshake. And men or women pay attention to men's hands very much. This is something that women will take conscious or unconscious note of how they look, how strong they are they taken care of? And not that you need to get a manicure or anything like that, but women look at hands. So you need to make sure everything you're doing with your hands is strong, firm, confident, clean. Boom.
Another important part of a conversation is the conversation, not just the handshake.
Oh, of course.
Well, of
Yeah, there's
course.
a lot of different things, but I'm just giving you guys the scoop on different little small things that she might not be conscious of, but unconsciously, this is going to poke her.
And you and Dale both brought up good points with hugging. So if you're a guy though, and I recommend this, and maybe Peyton could understand this, but do not hug females that you do not trust. Do not if you don't trust that woman, do not come in for a hug. The reason why is you can hug her and have no problems, but the handshake is more of a power move. Now, I know a lot of beta guys that go straight for the hug. So Dale would agree with this, of course, but I believe in hugging, but it's about trust. I don't try to hug women that I do not personally know. So on the first instance, I'm not going for the hug because the hug is there's a softness to it. You could argue that there's some sort of control there. I if I don't trust you, I'm not going to hug you. It's same with guys, right? I mean, guys, this is not gay or anything like that. You'll hug a dude that you trust, that's your brother. I'll hug my brother, of course. So that hug thing is really, really good point. So the hug is very alpha, but you got to have trust again, because the first thing she's going to look for is a way to demote you, to basically sideline you. Oh, he's kind of weird. He went in for the hug on me.
Yeah.
So that is something to keep in mind there.
But more important than
Let me
we
ask you
had
a
a
question
little
on
bit
that,
of
brother BK, and sorry to interrupt, but it's specific to that point. So I've been doing business in the last 6 months with a commercial real estate agent, female, and we talk, nothing personal. And in the last few meetings, there has been a hug, the friendly hug, hey, how you doing, whatever. But in the last month, I don't trust her so much anymore. And so now my question to you is, I have a meeting with her, I think next week, that hasn't been set yet, and other people. Should I not go for the hug and just give her a handshake to let her know I just demoted her, or should I go for the hug again?
Go for the handshake. I mean, go for the
business should be handshake.
Handshake. I know this was for VK.
I want to slap the bitch. I'm kind of pissed off at her, but I'll just do the handshake. Thanks.
Well, yeah, because you're changing the dynamic. Women do not respect men that are predictable. Women want men that are predictable emotionally, but when you can predict them, like every time he's going to give me a hug, she's going to go, oh, I must be doing something wrong. Why did he not go for the hug and he went for the handshake? So you are changing the frame of the dynamic.
Yeah, I definitely want to add to that.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it until you said it right now. Is the instant you said that, I thought, ooh, that's what I'm going to do with her. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, just a very quick shit. We had a little bit of a hyperfixation on the handshake because with a simple touch, sometimes with the shoulder, you're walking or some, she can know your strength. We know that women love to look at our veins in our arms and shit like that. Just your posture, the way you represent yourself physically, if you're strong physically, already picks an image in her about your strength. If it's your girlfriend, you're gonna pick her. You will not handshake your girlfriend, right? That's some stranger shit or business type
Well, we're
shit,
talking about
right?
how to pick
She
up
can,
girls, not someone that you've known and dated and you already won her.
yeah, but still, even if you okay, let's take that example, right? First date. I don't go on. If I go on a first date, I don't handshake. I'll do 2 kisses, right? It's culture in Portugal,
Well,
whatever. I
let's
don't know. It's the
assume you've
same.
already met her
If it's the
before.
same there,
You met her before going on the date, right?
we could say it's the first time meeting, even.
So the first time you meet a perfect
It's like
stranger, you're gonna go and kiss her on the cheek.
on the cheek. Yeah, we do like cheek to cheek. It's common in Portugal. I'm from Portugal, by the way.
Yeah, well, different. That
So
makes there's a little bit of a different customary thing in different cultures, so that makes sense. But let's talk. You see, okay, I'm a girl. I see you from afar. I'm interested in you. You could tell. You're gonna walk over to me. You're literally gonna grab my shoulders or my face and kiss me, or are you gonna try to shake my hand, or how's it gonna go?
no, if I see, imagine you're outside, right, at the bus stop. If I want to approach you, I will be like talking to you, wobbling, like in the sense of like in a jokingly way, talking to you, like not representing you a threat because you don't want to feel scared, right? Because you have this bad image. Not saying you, but most women have this like, oh, is danger coming because of the stereotypes, right? So I will aborde you with jokes, with joyful energy to make you try to take you out of the fight state, right, and make you available to talk to me. It's not about the handshake. I will not even touch you. Just talk to you. Women need to be mind fucked, not touched like that, like with the handshake. It's not. That's not the real point
Yes,
of
but
like
there's
making a.
different. I completely see what you're saying, but there's going to be different situations where you're greeting someone. Like if a guy is like a guy from afar walks up to me, he's not just going to kiss me on the cheek. Hey, what's up? Like, hi, my name is whatever. Nice to meet you. Like you're going to go in for the handshake. You need to find some way to have a soft touch, and you're not going to usually just going for a hug. So the handshake is one of the first.
So I can get into a girl's pants if I finger her hand correctly.
Well, notice Peyton's expert. Notice Peyton's an expert in body language. She's born in the year of the rats. So the rat and the ox. I'm a Taurus. So in Chinese astrology in Western ox, and then you have in that's Eastern. Then you have in Western you have the Taurus. So she's an expert in that. You know, LeBron James is born in the year of the rat. Do you know he has a handshake for every single player that he's ever met or played with in his entire life? And he remembers that handshake to this day. So if he played with you 15 years ago, he has his own special handshake with you. This is why Masonry is highly tied into the year of the rat. And the rat is all about handshakes, gestures, body language. So that's why Peyton's an expert on that. So if you're dating a girl or you're trying to talk to a girl who's born in a rat year or an ox year, or she's a Taurus, we are highly oriented to body language. So that's why she's really good at it. I've never heard a better take on that. Most women will not be able to articulate that or even give that away.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. And even if you don't know the ins and outs of this stuff, if you never studied it, unconsciously, all of us will make assumptions on people based off of how they move their body. This is programmed in our biology because before we could speak and have these interactions, we had to know if someone was dangerous. As Zerka Rage mentioned, like, women want to feel safe. Well, sometimes we don't even have to talk to a guy and we know he's unsafe based off of his eyes, again, his body language, different mannerisms. These are all things that some women, they would not be able to articulate why they feel scared or uneasy about somebody, but they know unconsciously because we're all programmed with these different cues. But some of us have studied and some of us are able to verbalize and obviously share. So, that's why we're doing that. But there's a lot of different things that will point to what an alpha is doing naturally. Now, sometimes he's learning, like some of you guys in here are learning what to do to get more, quote, brownie points, or some might say Riz. That's the language now. To have success with girls. But here's the thing. If you study all of this stuff and okay, I got the handshake, I'm looking at her in her eyes, I have good posture. Okay, is that still overcompensating for you in other areas of your life not being alpha? Because eventually you will be found out. So you want to make sure you are being the man, as we've been talking about. Taken has talked about, 1993 was talking about. You want to be the man, and then make sure in your small interactions, if you're trying to meet women, you're doing these different things to unconsciously, because most women are not going to know these things consciously, you're unconsciously letting her know, hey, like, I'm interested, I'm in charge of the conversation, I respect you, and I want to let you know that this is safe, and I'm safe, and I have good intentions and things like that.
Great point. And women are always looking for a way to demote you, to sideline you. So do not give her a bunch of reasons that are red flags off the bat. So come in with strength, come in with command, but do not push it past that, especially in American culture. In France, they kiss each other all the time. It's normal. In politics, you will see Donald Trump go for a kiss, this and that. It's totally reciprocated. But unless you're in a judicial standpoint or in a political standpoint in America, it's a little bit different, especially with feminism being so strong since the feminine era has come in. And I expect this to trickle down, unfortunately, to places like Portugal, France, etc. But Peyton, I think there's more questions for you, and we're absolutely crushing this. This is actually good stuff and value and also entertainment that these guys are getting.
Facts, big facts. I wanted to share as well that a bit of beta behavior is expectation. So expecting anything from the female that you're interested in could lead her away from you. And realistically, the best thing you could do is be authentic with yourself. Let them know what you're looking to do, like what you offer in a sense. I would say this, like, say if you were to meet a girl at a party, best you could do is probably offer to make her a drink, make her the drink, introduce yourself, and go off and mind your business. Now she's gonna be curious. She's gonna be like, "Wow, like that was really nice." For that individual to introduce himself and go amongst their own time. And it's men are supposed to be enigmatic. It's the mystery. It's the unknowing that keeps the women on the pursuit a lot of the time. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see that.
Women want to be with guys who are abundant. So he should be so grounded in who he is and confident that he makes a drink, cool. He doesn't expect anything from her. He does it because he wants to. Maybe there is a small, like I'm interested in this girl, whatever, but like if she doesn't show any kind of reciprocation in any way, it doesn't have to be in the same way, but reciprocation to let the guy know that she's also interested, then he's happy still. He's happy no matter what her response is. That's the type of confidence that men need to have, because again, she's going to pick up on that. Women, VK is exactly right. Women are looking for ways to discount men, even if they're not conscious of it, because if the man is a true leader, he needs to be able to handle her shit test, excuse my language, but that's what she's going to be doing constantly through your whole life, not even just in the pursuit of getting her, but throughout your life. She needs to constantly test you to make sure that she can trust that you're the leader of her life and your life together. Something I want to add really quickly to the hug thing that you guys were talking about. Have you guys ever seen the meme, "Where my hug at?" That's a real thing. And that is something that can actually turn some girls off in the initial interaction. So if a guy is going in for a hug with a complete stranger of a female, she's gonna seem like, okay, is he like a weirdo and he doesn't get hugs, he doesn't get human touch, that's why he's going in for a hug on a stranger he's never met. Two, girls will give the hug back even if they're uncomfortable. I'm telling you from firsthand experience. And you might never be able to tell that she was uncomfortable, but on the inside, she was. So some girls will think, why does he feel entitled to be touching me like this? And I just met him. There's a level of disrespect she might feel from that. And it's going to signal neediness also in some way. So I don't typically think that a hug is good on the first interaction if you're by yourself. Now, if it's a group setting, let's just say it's like a group of guys or a group of guys and girls, and you're just meeting everybody, like it is a little bit more respectful to give a hug to everyone if you're going to give a hug to one of them. But if it's just a guy and a guy approaching a girl, 9 times out of 10, the handshake is going to be perfect. And if you do it well, it's going to give you a lot of points at the beginning of the conversation and give you success for the rest of it. But the hug, in my opinion, is a lot less impactful positively than the handshake, because you could be crossing certain boundaries that I know it's just a hug, but you're touching her body, and a handshake is just touching her hand.
Yeah, and
It's
you know
cultural.
what? If you're a guy, would you hug another dude that you don't trust or know? I would never. So if I first meet, if he's not a Masonic brother, Beacon, 33 Club, if I meet you for the first time, I don't trust you at all. Men communicate less, like 10,000 words less a day. Everything with men is body language. So the reason why men don't talk to each other, they nod or they wink or they say something, they say a brief comment, is because in the wild, back in the day, back in the 1700s, when you saw another man and you're walking by him, he might be trying to kill you. So that's the reason why we head nod to each other. We do this. Men speak literally 10,000 less words a day. So when you apply that same psychology to a female or a woman, you are literally bridging the gap of trust. So she doesn't trust you, you don't trust her, do not hug her. Now in a social setting, Peyton made a great point. You're in a group of a bunch of guy friends and girlfriends and everyone's just meeting each other and they give hugs. That's one thing. And then also, I do not want to make this guy to be some sort of Jesus Christ figure, and he slept with millions, thousands of women. But Dan Bilzerian, you want to study authenticity? You want to study what it means to be an alpha? Study a little bit of Dan Bilzerian. Read his book called The Setup. And Dan Bilzerian, I posted a tweet to the top of the thread. He basically, what alphas do is they call things out when they're wrong. So I am very pro-Israel. I come from a Jewish and Catholic background, but he goes, it's okay to burn down police stations and loot cities and protest. But if you criticize Israel, you get arrested. Got it. In America, they're trying to pass a law that you cannot criticize Israel. In one of the houses, it passed exponentially. So what alphas do is they call stuff out and they have frame. You're going to notice that alphas don't always talk as much. So Dan Bilzerian will be authentic. He won't say much. And when he answers in very concise ways. So the first thing that I always try not to do, because I'm a big talker, is not ramble. So I'll leave it at that. But basically study certain guys who exemplify those traits. You don't want to be a whore like Dan Bilzerian said he kind of was, but you want to take the good that you see from Donald Trump, Dan Bilzerian, people like that, and bring it into your life. Peyton, I apologize. I'm sure there's many more questions for you that Marvel has.
Oh, no need to apologize. All of your shares are excellent.
I actually do have a lot of questions from my community, but I don't know if I'm the only one seeing the Q app and Dr. E and All One Star
Well, I
has
wanted to make the point,
problems
though, it's also kind of
to
cultural.
coming
In
up.
Latin American countries,
Is
even
that
when
just
first
me,
you meet a
or you guys can
woman,
see
in
that
a
as
group
well?
setting or not, it's very common for the hug and the kiss on the cheek. That's very common. Here in the States, not so much. So it
BK.
also depends where you are.
So I see Q, I see Dr. E up here. Their mics are off, and then AL just shared something, Doctor. I don't know if you heard him.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
What am I gonna do is that I'm going to reset my phone, but you guys keep talking here, all right? I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Peyton, I got a question for you. So, when it comes down to social dynamics, when it comes down to men, do you think that women and you personally respond to guys who talk a lot about themselves, talk too much about themselves? Because I believe that a true alpha wants to hear about what let's say like you're an alpha and you're talking to a female. When he starts talking about himself endlessly, is that a red flag to you?
It's not necessarily a red flag. It really just depends. I don't think there's one answer for this, but I have a few things to say. So, if he's talking so much about himself, he might be trying to prove that he has a lot more than he actually does. So that's one way to know that, okay, maybe it's not authentic. Two, I think you're trying to bring up the point like true alphas want to hear about other people and their lives and give them kind of the spotlight because maybe they already know they have the spotlight because they're alpha. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on. I agree. I've been out with guys who talked a lot and they couldn't like read the room. So that to me, if they're just talking and talking and not even giving you a chance to speak, they might be alpha, but they might not have emotional intelligence. So that would be a red flag to me. And then also, if a guy is talking a lot and he doesn't really care to hear about what you have to say as a woman, he might not actually be interested in who you are. He might just be trying to sleep with you or something like that. So these are all things to consider.
Yeah, and you made an excellent point about reading a room. So this is one thing I want to try to teach everyone that I've learned the hard way growing up. Women, their greatest talent, one of them on earth, is the ability to walk into any room and read it immediately. Now, let me tell you why this is important. If you have a wife or a really good wife or female in your life that you're dating, and you bring her to social events, she will be able to walk into that room immediately and tell you, this person's your enemy. This person likes you. This person doesn't like you. Men are dumb as hell when it comes down to reading rooms in social settings, multiple people at once. Why is this? Well, women have always lived in the life of the courtier or the courtier. And what that means is in royal times in the 1800s, women were involved in the palace. And in the palace, there's all these social dynamics that go on. Why am I saying this? The king would share multiple women at once. So the king would have a harem of like 5 to 10 women. Those women are constantly dealing with his enemies, his people around him, people that may or not be, betraying him. And genetically, throughout thousands of years, women have the ability to read a room at mass scale. Why? Since they've been 4, 5, 6 years old, they're judged at an extremely high level. So they learn who their enemy is very quickly. And that is an advantage of having a good woman at your side. I'll leave it at that, Peyton. The floor is yours with any questions. Hopefully we got Marvel back up here as well.
Yeah, are you back, Doctor? I saw you putting up the 100, but can't hear you if you're speaking.
Yes, I'm back. Now I can see everything completely different. I saw before Q and All One Star and Dr. E connecting, but now I can see everything better and I can actually hear you guys a lot better. Dr. E, I see that you have your hand up, so please go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello to you guys. Hi, Peyton and Dr. Marvel. Good to see you and everybody else. I'm enjoying your conversation. I'm feeling alpha because I just worked out after working 10 hours. I didn't feel like it, and I feel better. So that's my alpha moment.
Let's fucking
Love
go,
it.
brother.
That's perfect.
But I'm actually sitting at a bar about to have a drink and eat, and I'm enjoying you guys' conversation. So I'm just going to sit here on mute and enjoy you guys.
Feel free to chime in whenever.
So, Dr. E, your thoughts on beta males?
Dr. E, your thoughts on beta males?
Oh, God. You know, I don't know, man. Listen, I have 5 kids. I have 5 boys. I had multiple businesses. I don't understand beta male. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just enjoying the conversation here.
You're good, brother. You're good. Yeah, you know what?
She my little dog. She my best friend. And I got big shoes. This ain't no size 10. The way I'm rocking them. The way I'm walking in. The way I'm walking in. Cause she my little dog. She my best friend. And I got big shoes. This ain't no size 10. The way I'm rocking them. The way I'm walking in. The way I'm walking in.